Jump to content. Main menu. Main menu. Move to sidebar hide. Navigation. Main page. Contents. Current events. Random article. About Wikipedia. Contact us. Contribute. Help. Learn to edit. Community portal. Recent changes. Upload file. Search. Search. Appearance. Donate. Create account. Login. Personal tools. Donate. Create account. Login. Pages for logged out editors. Learn more. Contributions. Talk. Contents. Move to sidebar hide. Top. 1 in Egypt and Nubia. Toggle in Egypt and Nubia subsection. 1.1 Name and origins. 1.2 Roles. 1.2.1 Wife and mourner. 1.2.2 Mother Goddess. 1.2.3 Goddess of Kingship and Protection of the Kingdom. 1.2.4 Goddess of Magic and Wisdom. 1.2.5 Sky Goddess. 1.2.6 Universal Goddess. 1.3 Iconography. 1.4 Worship. 1.4.1 Relationship with royalty. 1.4.2 Temples and festivals. 1.4.3 Funerary. 1.4.4 Popular worship. 2 in the Greco-Roman world. Toggle in the Greco-Roman world subsection. 2.1 Spread. 2.2 Roles. 2.3 Relationships with other deities. 2.4 Iconography. 2.5 Worship. 2.5.1 Adherents and priests. 2.5.2 Temples and daily rites. 2.5.3 Personal worship. 2.5.4 Initiation. 2.5.5 Festivals. 3 Possible influence on Christianity. 4 Influence in later cultures. 5 See also. 6 Notes. 7 References. Toggle references subsection. 7.1 Citations. 7.2 Works cited. 8 Further reading. 9 External links. Toggle the table of contents. ISIS. 89 languages. Afrikaans. Alemanis. Asturianu. Azerbaijkanka. Bosanski. Brezoneg. Katala. Etna. Simreg. Dansk. Deutsch. Easti. Epsilon lambda lambda eta nu iota kappa. Español. Esperanto. Euskara. Francais. Frysk. Kylch. Galigo. Hrvatski. Bahasa Indonesia. Islandska. Italiano. Kiswahili. Latina. Latviu. Lietovi. Lingua Franca Nova. Magyar. Bahasa Melayu. /Ming DNGNG. Nhwadal. Netherlands. Norsk Boekmal. Occitan. Osbicha / Polski. Portuguese. Rom. Scots. Sicilianu. Simple English. Slovenina. Slovenina. /Srpski. Srpskrvatski / Suomi. Svenska. Tagalog. Turks. Veneto. Tingvit. Winare. Edit links. Article. Talk. English. Read. View source. View history. Tools. Tools. Move to sidebar hide. Actions. Read. View source. View history. General. What links here? Related changes. Upload file. Special pages. Permanent link. Page information. Cite this page. Get shortened URL. Download QR code. Expand all. Edit interlanguage links. Print/export. Download as PDF. Printable version. In other projects. Wikimedia Commons. Wikidata item. Appearance. Move to sidebar hide. Text. Small. Standard. Large. This page always uses small font size. Width. Standard. Wide. The content is as wide as possible for your browser window. Color, beta. Automatic. Light. Dark. This page is always in light mode. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Ancient Egyptian goddess. This article is about the ancient Egyptian goddess. For the modern terrorist group commonly abbreviated as ISIS, see Islamic State. For other uses, see ISIS, disambiguation. ISIS. Composite image of Isis's most distinctive Egyptian iconography, based partly on images from the tomb of Nefertari. Name in hieroglyphs. Egyptian, Sat 1-2. Meroitic, Wos A or Wusa 2-3. Major cult center. Bibite el Hagar, fully. Symbol. Tayet. Genealogy. Parents. Geb and Nut. Siblings. Osiris, Set, Nephthys, Horus the Elder. Consort. Osiris, Min, Serapis, Horus the Elder. Offspring. Horus, Min, 4 sons of Horus, based at. Part of a series on ancient Egyptian religion. Show. Beliefs. Afterlife. Cosmology. Duet. Ma'at. Mythology. Index. Numerology. Philosophy. Soul. Show. Practices. Funerals. Offerings, offering formula. Temples. Pyramids. Show. Deities, list. Ogdoad. Amun. Amunit. Howhet. Het. Coquette. Kek. Nounet. Nu. Ennead. Adam. Geb. Isis. Nephthys. Nut. Osiris. Set. Shu. Tefnut. Eati. Acre. Okti. Amenhotep, son of Hapu. Amsmi. Amit. Amhat. Amuaa. Anat. Anjeti. Anhur. Anput. Anubis. Anuket. Apdimok. Apeb. Apis. Apt. Aken. Irensnuppies. Ash. Assessors. Astart. Aten. B. Bobby. Bainjadet. Bastet. Bat. Bata. Bapef. Benue. Bess. Butchies. C. Cavern deities. D. Didun. Duau, God. F. 4 sons of Horus. G. Gate deities. H. Ha. Happy. Oran. Hather. Hatmhit. Hittite. Hetihotep. Hika. Heman. Hemsit. Henit. Heket. Hermanubis. Hesat. Horus. Harpocrates. Harishaph. Hu. Iabet. Ea. Iat. Igai. Ihi. Ikemusk. Imentet. Imhotep. Ipai. Iunit. Ihusaset. K. Kibichet. Kenzit. Kenti Amantiu. Kenti Kiti. Kepri. Kurdi. Knum. Kansu. Kother Wa cases. M. Mahis. Maat. Mandulus. Medjt. Mofdet. Mehen. Mehetwarit. Mehit. Menhit. Merit. Meritsager. Meskanet. Min. Naviz. Montu. Mut. N. Nebthetepit. Nechawai. Nefertum. Neekau. Name Tai. Neath. Nemti. Nekbit. Neeper. P. Pk. Parrot. Petby. Te. Q. Kabi. Qed her. Kh. R. Ra. Reed Tai. Regeet. Ram. Renanutet. Renpit. Renpit Nefrit. Ripit. Rashapf. S. Sa. Satis. Sebiamikar. Sekamet. Seker. Serapis. Circuit. Shed. Shy. Shed. Shesmitet. Shesmu. Sia. Sobug. Sopday. Sopdu. Souls of Pe and Nekan. T. Taitanen. Tarat. Tate. Tabitje. Thoth. Hermes Trismegistus. Tijaneniat. Tudu. U. Anut. W. Wajet. Wajwer. Weneg. Webset. Webvaet. Warathico. Worit. Show. Locations. Eru. Benben. Duit. Land of Manu. The Indestructibles. Show. Symbols and objects. Aani. Abtu. Ank. Ataf. Atat. Book of Thoth. Cartouche. Corn mummy. Crook and flail. Dishrat. Djed. Egyptian obelisk. Egyptian pool. Eye of Horus. Eye of Ra. Griffin. Hejet. Hemum crown. Henu. Hierarchosphinx. Hypocephalus. Imiat fetish. Capriche. Nef. Maytet boat. Medjt. Manat. Nebu. Neems. Neshmit. Ouroboros. Chint. Scarab. Sectet boat. Sarag. Serpapard. Set animal. Shenring. Sphinx. Tyet. Urias. Ashabdi. Was scepter. Winged sun. Show. Texts. Funerary texts. Amdu 8 books of breathing, book of caverns, book of the dead, book of the earth, book of gates. Show. Related religions. Adonism. Hermeticism. Thelema. Chemeticism, Kemetic Orthodoxy Church of the Most High Goddess. Ancient Egypt portal. V. T. E. Isis wall painting in the tomb of Seti I, KV-17. Isis Note 1 was a major goddess in ancient Egyptian religion whose worship spread throughout the Greco-Roman world. Isis was first mentioned in the Old Kingdom, c. 2686 c. 2181 BCE, as one of the main characters of the Osiris myth, in which she resurrects her slain brother and husband, the divine king Osiris, and produces and protects his heir, Horus. She was believed to help the dead enter the afterlife as she had helped Osiris, and she was considered the divine mother of the pharaoh, who was likened to Horus. Her maternal aid was invoked in healing spells to benefit ordinary people. Originally, she played a limited role in royal rituals and temple rites, although she was more prominent in funerary practices and magical texts. She was usually portrayed in art as a human woman wearing a throne-like hieroglyph on her head. During the New Kingdom, c. 1550 c. 1070 BCE, as she took on traits that originally belonged to Hathor, the preeminent goddess of earlier times. Isis was portrayed wearing Hathor's headdress, a sun disk between the horns of a cow. In the first millennium BCE, Osiris and Isis became the most widely worshipped Egyptian deities, and Isis absorbed traits from many other goddesses. Rulers in Egypt and its southern neighbor Nubia built temples dedicated primarily to Isis, and her temple at Philae was a religious center for Egyptians and Nubians alike. Her reputed magical power was greater than that of all other gods, and she was said to govern the natural world and wield power over fate itself. In the Hellenistic period, 323–30 BCE, when Egypt was ruled and settled by Greeks, Isis was worshipped by Greeks and Egyptians, along with a new god, Serapis. Their worship diffused into the wider Mediterranean world. Isis's Greek devotees ascribed to her traits taken from Greek deities, such as the invention of marriage and the protection of ships at sea. As Hellenistic culture was absorbed by Rome in the 1st century BCE, the cult of Isis became a part of Roman religion. Her devotees were a small proportion of the Roman Empire's population but were found all across its territory. Her following developed distinctive festivals such as the Navagium Isides, as well as initiation ceremonies resembling those of other Greco-Roman mystery cults. Some of her devotees said she encompassed all feminine divine powers in the world. The worship of Isis was ended by the rise of Christianity in the 4th through 6th centuries CE. Her worship may have influenced Christian beliefs and practices such as the veneration of Mary, but the evidence for this influence is ambiguous and often controversial. Isis continues to appear in Western culture, particularly in esotericism and modern paganism, often as a personification of nature or the feminine aspect of divinity. In Egypt and Nubia. Name and origins. Whereas some Egyptian deities appeared in the late pre-dynastic period, before c. 3100 BCE, neither Isis nor her husband Osiris were mentioned by name before the 5th dynasty, c. 2494–2345 BCE. 5-6 An inscription that may refer to Isis dates to the reign of Ni-Usur-Ni during that period. 7 And she appears prominently in the pyramid texts, which began to be written down at the end of the dynasty and whose content may have developed much earlier. 8 Several passages in the pyramid texts link Isis with the region of the Nile Delta near Bibit el Hagar and Sebenitos, and her cult may have originated there. 9 Note 2. Many scholars have focused on Isis's name in trying to determine her origins. Her Egyptian name was written as St, the pronunciation of which changed over time, Arsat Arsis S, 2 which became, Say, in the Coptic form of Egyptian, Wusa in the Meroitic language of Nubia, and Sigma Iota, on which her modern name is based, in Greek. 14 Note 3 The hieroglyphic writing of her name incorporates the sign for a throne, which Isis also wears on her head as a sign of her identity. The symbol serves as a phonogram, spelling the St sounds in her name, but it may have also represented a link with actual thrones. The Egyptian term for a throne was also St and may have shared a common etymology with Isis's name. Therefore, the Egyptologist Kurt Sethe suggested she was originally a personification of thrones. 15 Henri Frankfurt agreed, believing that the throne was considered the king's mother, and thus a goddess, because of its power to make a man into a king. 16 Other scholars, such as Jürgen Ossing and Klaus P. Coleman, have disputed this interpretation, because of dissimilarities between Isis's name and the word for a throne. 15 Or a lack of evidence that the throne was ever deified. 17. Roles. The cycle of myth surrounding Osiris's death and resurrection was first recorded in the pyramid texts and grew into the most elaborate and influential of all Egyptian myths. 18 Isis plays a more active role in this myth than the other protagonists, so as it developed in literature from the New Kingdom, c. 1550–1070 BCE, to the Ptolemaic period, 305–30 BCE, she became the most complex literary character of all Egyptian deities. 19 At the same time, she absorbed characteristics from many other goddesses, broadening her significance well beyond the Osiris myth. 20. Wife and mourner. Sculpture of a woman, possibly Isis, in a pose of mourning, 15th or 14th century BCE. Isis is part of the Ennead of Heliopolis, a family of 9 deities descended from the creator god, Adam, or Ra. She and her siblings Osiris, Set, and Nephthys are the last generation of the Ennead, born to Geb, god of the earth, and Nut, goddess of the sky. The creator god, the world's original ruler, passes down his authority through the male generations of the Ennead, so that Osiris becomes king. Isis, who is Osiris's wife as well as his sister, is his queen. 21. Set kills Osiris and, in several versions of the story, dismembers his corpse. Isis and Nephthys, along with other deities such as Anubis, search for the pieces of their brother's body and reassemble it. Their efforts are the mythic prototype for mummification and other ancient Egyptian funerary practices. 22. According to some texts, they must also protect Osiris's body from further desecration by Set or his servants. 23. Isis is the epitome of a mourning widow. Her and Nephthys's love and grief for their brother help restore him to life, as does Isis's recitation of magical spells. 24. Funerary texts contain speeches by Isis in which she expresses her sorrow at Osiris's death, her sexual desire for him, and even anger that he has left her. All these emotions play a part in his revival, as they are meant to stir him into action. 25. Finally, Isis restores breath and life to Osiris's body and copulates with him, conceiving their son, Horus. 22. After this point Osiris lives on only in the Duat, or underworld. But by producing a son and heir to avenge his death and carry out funerary rites for him, Isis has ensured that her husband will endure in the afterlife. 26. Isis's role in afterlife beliefs was based on that in the myth. She helped to restore the souls of deceased humans to wholeness as she had done for Osiris. Like other goddesses, such as Hathor, she also acted as a mother to the deceased, providing protection and nourishment. 27. Thus, like Hathor, she sometimes took the form of Imentet, the goddess of the West, who welcomed the deceased soul into the afterlife as her child. 28. But for much of Egyptian history, male deities such as Osiris were believed to provide the regenerative powers, including sexual potency, that were crucial for rebirth. Isis was thought to merely assist by stimulating this power. 27. Feminine divine powers became more important in afterlife beliefs in the late New Kingdom. 29. Various Ptolemaic funerary texts emphasize that Isis took the active role in Horus's conception by sexually stimulating her inert husband. 30. Some tomb decoration from the Roman period in Egypt depicts Isis in a central role in the afterlife. 31. And a funerary text from that era suggests that women were thought able to join the retinue of Isis and Nephthys in the afterlife. 32. Mother Goddess. Isis nursing Horus, a sculpture from the 7th century BCE. Isis is treated as the mother of Horus even in the earliest copies of the pyramid texts. 33. Yet there are signs that Hathor was originally regarded as his mother. 34. And other traditions make an elder form of Horus the son of Nut and a sibling of Isis and Osiris. 35. Isis may only have come to be Horus's mother as the Osiris myth took shape during the Old Kingdom. 34. But through her relationship with him she came to be seen as the epitome of maternal devotion. 36. In the developed form of the myth, Isis gives birth to Horus, after a long pregnancy and a difficult labor, in the papyrus thickets of the Nile Delta. As her child grows she must protect him from Set and many other hazards, snakes, scorpions, and simple illness. 37. In some texts, Isis travels among humans and must seek their help. According to one such story, 7 minor scorpion deities travel with and guard her. They take revenge on a wealthy woman who has refused to help Isis by stinging the woman's son, making it necessary for the goddess to heal the blameless child. 38. Isis's reputation as a compassionate deity, willing to relieve human suffering, contributed greatly to her appeal. 39. Isis continues to assist her son when he challenges Set to claim the kingship that Set has usurped. 40. Although mother and son are sometimes portrayed in conflict, as when Horus beheads Isis and she replaces her original head with that of a cow, an origin myth explaining the cow horn headdress that Isis wears. 41. Isis's maternal aspect extended to other deities as well. The coffin texts from the Middle Kingdom, c. 2055–1650 BCE, say the four sons of Horus, funerary deities who were thought to protect the internal organs of the deceased, were the offspring of Isis and the elder form of Horus. 42 In the same era, Horus was syncretized with the fertility god Min, so Isis was regarded as Min's mother. 43 A form of Min known as Kamutef, bull of his mother, who represented the cyclical regeneration of the gods and of kingship, was said to impregnate his mother to engender himself. 44 Thus, Isis was also regarded as Min's consort. 45 The same ideology of kingship may lie behind a tradition, found in a few texts, that Horus raped Isis. 46–47 Amun, the foremost Egyptian deity during the Middle and New Kingdoms, also took on the role of Kamutef, and when he was in this form, Isis often acted as his consort. 45 Apis, a bull that was worshipped as a living god at Memphis, was said to be Isis's son, fathered by a form of Osiris known as Osiris Apis. The biological mother of each Apis bull was thus known as the Isis cow. 48 Isis was said to be the mother of Bastet by Ra. 49. A story in the Westcar Papyrus from the Middle Kingdom includes Isis among a group of goddesses who serve as midwives during the delivery of 3 future kings. 50 She serves a similar role in New Kingdom texts that describe the divinely ordained births of reigning pharaohs. 51. In the Westcar Papyrus, Isis calls out the names of the 3 children as they are born. Barbara S. Lesko sees this story as a sign that Isis had the power to predict or influence future events, as did other deities who presided over birth. 45 Such as Shai and Renanutet. 52 Texts from much later times call Isis mistress of life, ruler of fate and destiny. 45 And indicate she has control over Shai and Renanutet, just as other great deities such as Amun were said to do in earlier eras of Egyptian history. By governing these deities, Isis determined the length and quality of human lives. 52. Goddess of kingship and protection of the kingdom. Isis holds the king, Seti I, in her lap, 13th century BCE. Horus was equated with each living pharaoh and Osiris with the pharaoh's deceased predecessors. Isis was therefore the mythological mother and wife of kings. In the pyramid texts her primary importance to the king was as one of the deities who protected and assisted him in the afterlife. Her prominence in royal ideology grew in the New Kingdom. 53 Temple reliefs from that time on show the king nursing at Isis's breast. Her milk not only healed her child, but symbolized his divine right to rule. 54 Royal ideology increasingly emphasized the importance of queens as earthly counterparts of the goddesses who served as wives to the king and mothers to his heirs. Initially the most important of these goddesses was Hathor, whose attributes in art were incorporated into queens' crowns. But because of her own mythological links with queenship, Isis too was given the same titles and regalia as human queens. 55. Isis's actions in protecting Osiris against Set became part of a larger, more warlike aspect of her character. 56 New Kingdom funerary texts portray Isis in the bark of Ra as he sails through the underworld, acting as one of several deities who subdue Ra's archenemy, Apep. 57 Kings also called upon her protective magical power against human enemies. In her Ptolemaic temple at Philly, which lay near the frontier with Nubian peoples who raided Egypt, she was described as the protectress of the entire nation, more effective in battle than millions of soldiers, supporting Ptolemaic kings and Roman emperors in their efforts to subdue Egypt's enemies. 56. Goddess of Magic and Wisdom. Isis was also known for her magical power, which enabled her to revive Osiris and to protect and heal Horus, and for her cunning. 58 By virtue of her magical knowledge, she was said to be more clever than a million gods. 59-60 In several episodes in the New Kingdom story The Contendings of Horus and Set, Isis uses these abilities to outmaneuver Set during his conflict with her son. On one occasion, she transforms into a young woman who tells Set she is involved in an inheritance dispute similar to Set's usurpation of Osiris's crown. When Set calls this situation unjust, Isis taunts him, saying he has judged himself to be in the wrong. 60 In later texts, she uses her powers of transformation to fight and destroy Set and his followers. 58. Many stories about Isis appear as historioli, prologues to magical texts that describe mythic events related to the goal that the spell aims to accomplish. 19 In one spell, Isis creates a snake that bites Ra, who is older and greater than she is, and makes him ill with its venom. She offers to cure Ra if he will tell her his true, secret name, a piece of knowledge that carries with it incomparable power. After much coercion, Ra tells her his name, which she passes on to Horus, bolstering his royal authority. 60 The story may be meant as an origin story to explain why Isis's magical ability surpasses that of other deities, but because she uses magic to subdue Ra, the story seems to treat her as having such abilities even before learning his name. 61. Sky Goddess. Many of the roles Isis acquired gave her an important position in the sky. 62 Passages in the pyramid texts connect Isis closely with Sopde, the goddess representing the star Sirius, whose relationship with her husband saw the constellation Orion, and their son Sopde parallels Isis's relations with Osiris and Horus. Sirius's Heliacal rising, just before the start of the Nile flood, gave Sopde a close connection with the flood and the resulting growth of plants. 63 Partly because of her relationship with Sopde, Isis was also linked with the flood. 64 Which was sometimes equated with the tears she shed for Osiris. 65 By Ptolemaic times she was connected with rain, which Egyptian texts call a Nile in the sky, with the sun as the protector of Ra's bark. 66 And with the moon, possibly because she was linked with the Greek lunar goddess Artemis by a shared connection with an Egyptian fertility goddess, Bastet. 67 In hymns inscribed at Philly she is called the Lady of Heaven, whose dominion over the sky parallels Osiris's rule over the Duat and Horus's kingship on earth. 68. Universal Goddess. Isis, crowned with the lotus and bearing the scepter. An intaglio, of Ptolemaic date, in Sardonyx. In Ptolemaic times Isis's sphere of influence could include the entire cosmos. 68 As the deity that protected Egypt and endorsed its king, she had power over all nations, and as the provider of rain, she enlivened the natural world. 69 The Philly hymn that initially calls her ruler of the sky goes on to expand her authority, so at its climax her dominion encompasses the sky, earth, and Duat. It says her power over nature nourishes humans, the blessed dead, and the gods. 68 Other Greek language hymns from Ptolemaic Egypt call her the beautiful essence of all the gods. 70 In the course of Egyptian history, many deities, major and minor, had been described in similar grand terms. Ammon was most commonly described this way in the New Kingdom, whereas in Roman Egypt such terms tended to be applied to Isis. 71 Such texts do not deny the existence of other deities but treat them as aspects of the supreme deity, a type of theology sometimes called sumodism. 72-73. In the late Ptolemaic and Roman periods, many temples contained a creation myth that adapted long-standing ideas about creation to give the primary roles to local deities. 74 At Philly, Isis is described as the creator in the same way that older texts speak of the work of the god. 68 Who was said to have designed the world with his intellect and sculpted it into being. 75 Like him, Isis formed the cosmos through what her heart conceived and her hands created. 68. Like other deities throughout Egyptian history, Isis had many forms in her individual cult centers, and each cult center emphasized different aspects of her character. Local Isis cults focused on the distinctive traits of their deity more than on her universality, whereas some Egyptian hymns to Isis treat other goddesses in cult centers from across Egypt and the Mediterranean as manifestations of her. A text in her temple at Dendera says, "In each nome it is she who is in every town, in every nome with her son Horus." 76. Iconography. Queen Nefertari being led by Isis. In ancient Egyptian art, Isis was most commonly depicted as a woman with the typical attributes of a goddess, a sheath dress, a staff of papyrus in one hand, and an ankh sign in the other. Her original headdress was the throne sign used in writing her name. She and Nephthys often appear together, particularly when mourning Osiris's death, supporting him on his throne, or protecting the sarcophagi of the dead. In these situations their arms are often flung across their faces, in a gesture of mourning, or outstretched around Osiris or the deceased as a sign of their protective role. 77 In these circumstances they were often depicted as kites or women with the wings of kites. This form may be inspired by a similarity between the kite's calls and the cries of wailing women. 78 Or by a metaphor likening the kite's search for carrion to the goddess's search for their dead brother. 77 Isis sometimes appeared in other animal forms, as a sow, representing her maternal character, as a cow, particularly when linked with Apis, or as a scorpion. 77 She also took the form of a tree or a woman emerging from a tree, sometimes offering food and water to deceased souls. This form alluded to the maternal nourishment she provided. 79. Beginning in the New Kingdom, thanks to the close links between Isis and Hathor, Isis took on Hathor's attributes, such as a sistrum rattle and a headdress of cow horns enclosing a sun disk. Sometimes both headdresses were combined, so the throne glyph sat atop the sun disk. 77 In the same era, she began to wear the insignia of a human queen, such as a vulture-shaped crown on her head and the royal uraeus, or rearing cobra, on her brow. 55 In Ptolemaic and Roman times, statues and figurines of Isis often showed her in a Greek sculptural style, with attributes taken from Egyptian and Greek tradition. 80-81 Some of these images reflected her linkage with other goddesses in novel ways. Isis Thermothes, a combination of Isis and Renenutet who represented agricultural fertility, was depicted in this style as a woman with the lower body of a snake. Figurines of a woman wearing an elaborate headdress and exposing her genitals may represent Isis Aphrodite. 82 Note 4. The Tayat symbol, a looped shape similar to the ankh, came to be seen as Isis's emblem at least as early as the New Kingdom, though it existed long before. 84 It was often made of red jasper and likened to Isis's blood. Used as a funerary amulet, it was said to confer her protection on the wearer. 85. An illustration of Isis based on a painting in the tomb of Seti I. Isis with a combination of throne glyph and cow horns, as well as a vulture headdress, Temple of Kalabsha, 1st century BCE or 1st century CE. Winged Isis at the foot of the sarcophagus of Ramesses III, 12th century BCE. A relief of winged Isis from the Phili temple. Isis, left, and Nephthys stand by as Anubis embalms the deceased, 13th century BCE. A winged Isis appears at top. Figurine of Isis Thermothes, 2nd century CE. Figurine possibly of Isis Aphrodite, 2nd or 1st century BCE. A Tayat amulet, 15th or 14th century BCE. Worship. Relationship with royalty. Despite her significance in the Osiris myth, Isis was originally a minor deity in the ideology surrounding the living king. She played only a small role, for instance, in the dramatic Ramesseum papyrus, the script for royal rituals performed in the reign of Senusret in the Middle Kingdom. 86 Her importance grew during the New Kingdom. 87 When she was increasingly connected with Hathor and the human queen. 88. The early 1st millennium BCE saw an increased emphasis on the family triad of Osiris, Isis, and Horus and an explosive growth in Isis's popularity. In the 4th century BCE, Nectane Boi of the 30th dynasty claimed Isis as his patron deity, tying her still more closely to political power. 89 The Kingdom of Kush, which ruled Nubia from the 8th century BCE to the 4th century CE, absorbed and adapted the Egyptian ideology surrounding kingship. It equated Isis with the Kandake, the queen or queen mother of the Kushite king. 90. The Ptolemaic Greek kings, who ruled Egypt as pharaohs from 305 to 30 BCE, developed an ideology that linked them with both Egyptian and Greek deities, to strengthen their claim to the throne in the eyes of their Greek and Egyptian subjects. 4 centuries before, Greek colonists and visitors to Egypt had drawn parallels between Egyptian deities and their own, in a process known as Interpretatio Graeca. 91 Herodotus, a Greek who wrote about Egypt in the 5th century BCE, likened Isis to Demeter, whose mythical search for her daughter Persephone resembled Isis's search for Osiris. Demeter was one of the few Greek deities to be widely adopted by Egyptians in Ptolemaic times, so the similarity between her and Isis provided a link between the two cultures. 92 In other cases, Isis was linked with Aphrodite through the sexual aspects of her character. 93 Building on these traditions, the first two Ptolemies promoted the cult of the new god Serapis, who combined aspects of Osiris and Apis with those of Greek gods such as Zeus and Dionysus. Isis, portrayed in a Hellenized form, was regarded as the consort of Serapis as well as of Osiris. Ptolemy II and his sister and wife Arsinoe II developed a ruler cult around themselves, so that they were worshipped in the same temples as Serapis and Isis, and Arsinoe was likened to both Isis and Aphrodite. 94 Some later Ptolemaic queens identified themselves still more closely with Isis. Cleopatra III, in the 2nd century BCE, used Isis's name in place of her own in inscriptions, and Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of Egypt before it was annexed by Rome, used the epithet the new Isis. 95. Temples and festivals. Fully as seen from Bijeh Island, painted by David Roberts in 1838. Down to the end of the New Kingdom, Isis's cult was closely tied to those of male deities such as Osiris, Min, or Amun. She was commonly worshipped alongside them as their mother or consort, and she was especially widely worshipped as the mother of various local forms of Horus. 96 Nevertheless, she had independent priesthoods at some sites. 97 And at least one temple of her own, at Osiris's cult center of Abydos, during the late New Kingdom. 98. The earliest known major temples to Isis were the Izion at Babit el-Hagar in northern Egypt and Philly in the far south. Both began construction during the 30th dynasty and were completed or enlarged by Ptolemaic kings. 99 Thanks to Isis's widespread fame, Philly drew pilgrims from across the Mediterranean. 100 Many other temples of Isis sprang up in Ptolemaic times, ranging from Alexandria and Canopus on the Mediterranean coast to Egypt's frontier with Nubia. 101 A series of temples of Isis stood in that region, stretching from Philly south to Mahareka, and were sites of worship for both Egyptians and various Nubian peoples. 102 The Nubians of Kush built their own temples to Isis at sites as far south as Wad Ban Naka. 103 including one in their capital, Meroe. 104. The most frequent temple rite for any deity was the daily offering ritual, in which priests clothed the deity's cult image and offered it food. 105 In Roman times, temples to Isis in Egypt could be built either in Egyptian style, in which the cult image was in a secluded sanctuary accessible only to priests, and in a Greco-Roman style in which devotees were allowed to see the cult image. 106 Greek and Egyptian culture were highly intermingled by this time, and there may have been no ethnic separation between Isis's worshippers. 107 The same people may have prayed to Isis outside Egyptian-style temples and in front of her statue inside Greek-style temples. 106. Temples celebrated many festivals in the course of the year, some nationwide and some very local. 108 An elaborate series of rites were performed all across Egypt for Osiris during the month of Khoiak. 109 And Isis and Nephthys were prominent in these rites at least as early as the New Kingdom. 110 In Ptolemaic times, two women acted out the roles of Isis and Nephthys during Khoiak, singing or chanting in mourning for their dead brother. Their chants are preserved in the festival songs of Isis and Nephthys and lamentations of Isis and Nephthys. 110-111. Festivals dedicated to Isis eventually developed. In Roman times, Egyptians across the country celebrated her birthday, the Amsizia, by carrying the local cult statue of Isis through their fields, probably celebrating her powers of fertility. 112 The priests at Philly held a festival every 10 days when the cult statue of Isis visited the neighboring island of Bijeh, which was said to be Osiris's place of burial, and the priests performed funerary rites for him. The cult statue also visited the neighboring temples to the south, even during the last centuries of activity at Philly when those temples were run by Nubian peoples outside Roman rule. 113. Christianity became the dominant religion in the Roman Empire, including Egypt, during the 4th and 5th centuries CE. Egyptian temple cults died out, gradually and at various times, from a combination of lack of funds and Christian hostility. 114 Isis's temple at Philae, supported by its Nubian worshippers, still had an organized priesthood and regular festivals until at least the mid-5th century CE, making it the last fully functioning temple in Egypt. 115 Note 5. Funerary. Isis, left, and Nephthys as kites near the bier of a mummy, 13th century BCE. In many spells in the pyramid texts, Isis and Nephthys help the deceased king reach the afterlife. In the coffin texts from the Middle Kingdom, Isis appears still more frequently, though in these texts Osiris is credited with reviving the dead more often than she is. New Kingdom sources such as the Book of the Dead describe Isis as protecting deceased souls as they face the dangers in the duat. They also describe Isis as a member of the divine councils that judge souls' moral righteousness before admitting them into the afterlife, and she appears in vignettes standing beside Osiris as he presides over this tribunal. 117. Isis with her wings spread on the footend of the outer coffin of Tutankhamun. Isis and Nephthys took part in funeral ceremonies, where two wailing women, much like those in the festival at Abydos, mourned the deceased as the two goddesses mourned Osiris. 118 Isis was frequently shown or alluded to in funerary equipment, on sarcophagi and canopic chests as one of the four goddesses who protected the four sons of Horus, in tomb art offering her enlivening milk to the dead, and in the Tayat amulets that were often placed on mummies to ensure that Isis's power would shield them from harm. 119 late funerary texts prominently featured her mourning for Osiris, and one such text, one of the Books of Breathing, was said to have been written by her for Osiris's benefit. 120 In Nubian funerary religion, Isis was regarded as more significant than her husband, because she was the active partner while he only passively received the offerings she made to sustain him in the afterlife. 121. Popular worship. Unlike many Egyptian deities, Isis was rarely addressed in prayers 122 or invoked in personal names, before the end of the New Kingdom. 123 From the late period on, she became one of the deities most commonly mentioned in these sources, which often refer to her kindly character and her willingness to answer those who call upon her for help. 124 Hundreds of thousands of amulets and votive statues of Isis nursing Horus were made during the first millennium BCE 125 and in Roman Egypt she was among the deities most commonly represented in household religious art, such as figurines and panel paintings. 126. Isis was prominent in magical texts from the Middle Kingdom onward. The dangers Horus faces in childhood are a frequent theme in magical healing spells, in which Isis's efforts to heal him are extended to cure any patient. In many of these spells, Isis forces Ra to help Horus by declaring that she will stop the sun in its course through the sky unless her son is cured. 127 Other spells equated pregnant women with Isis to ensure that they would deliver their children successfully. 128. Egyptian magic began to incorporate Christian concepts as Christianity was established in Egypt, but Egyptian and Greek deities continued to appear in spells long after their temple worship had ceased. 129 Spells that may date to the 6th, 7th, or 8th centuries CE invoke the name of Isis alongside Christian figures. 130. In the Greco-Roman world. Spread. The remains of the Temple of Isis on Delos. The Temple of Isis in Pompeii. Kasura bronze coin showing a portrait of Isis with Punic legend. Cults based in a particular city or nation were the norm across the ancient world until the mid to late 1st millennium BCE, when increased contact between different cultures allowed some cults to spread more widely. Greeks were aware of Egyptian deities, including Isis, at least as early as the Archaic period, c. 700–480 BCE, and her first known temple in Greece was built during or before the 4th century BCE by Egyptians living in Athens. The conquests of Alexander the Great late in that century created Hellenistic kingdoms around the Mediterranean and Near East, including Ptolemaic Egypt, and put Greek and non-Greek religions in much closer contact. The resulting diffusion of cultures allowed many religious traditions to spread across the Hellenistic world in the last 3 centuries BCE. The new mobile cults adapted greatly to appeal to people from a variety of cultures. The cults of Isis and Serapis were among those that expanded in this way. 131. Spread by merchants and other Mediterranean travelers, the cults of Isis and Serapis were established in Greek port cities at the end of the 4th century BCE and expanded throughout Greece and Asia Minor during the 3rd and 2nd centuries. The Greek island of Delos was an early cult center for both deities, and its status as a trading center made it a springboard for the Egyptian cults to diffuse into Italy. 132. Isis and Serapis were also worshipped at scattered sites in the Seleucid Empire, the Hellenistic kingdom in the Middle East, as far east as Iran, though they disappeared from the region as the Seleucids lost their eastern territory to the Parthian Empire. 133. Greeks regarded Egyptian religion as exotic and sometimes bizarre, yet full of ancient wisdom. 134. Like other cults from the eastern regions of the Mediterranean, the cult of Isis attracted Greeks and Romans by playing upon its exotic origins. 135. But the form it took after reaching Greece was heavily Hellenized. 136. Isis's cult reached Italy and the Roman sphere of influence at some point in the 2nd century BCE. 137. It was one of many cults that were introduced to Rome as the Roman Republic's territory expanded in the last centuries BCE. Authorities in the Republic tried to define which cults were acceptable and which were not, as a way of defining Roman cultural identity amid the cultural changes brought on by Rome's expansion. 138. In Isis's case, shrines and altars to her were set up on the Capitoline Hill, at the heart of the city, by private persons in the early 1st century BCE. 137. The independence of her cult from the control of Roman authorities made it potentially unsettling to them. 139. In the 50s and 40s BCE, when the crisis of the Roman Republic made many Romans fear that peace among the gods was being disrupted, the Roman Senate destroyed these shrines. 141. Although it did not ban Isis from the city outright. 137. Egyptian cults faced further hostility during the final war of the Roman Republic, 32–30 BCE, when Rome, led by Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, fought Egypt under Cleopatra VII. 142. After Octavian's victory, he banned shrines to Isis and Serapis within the Pomerium, the city's innermost, sacred boundary, but allowed them in parts of the city outside the Pomerium, thus marking Egyptian deities as non-Roman but acceptable to Rome. 143. Despite being temporarily expelled from Rome during the reign of Tiberius, 1437 CE, Note 6. The Egyptian cults gradually became an accepted part of the Roman religious landscape. The Flavian emperors in the late 1st century CE treated Serapis and Isis as patrons of their rule in much the same manner as traditional Roman deities such as Jupiter and Minerva. 145. Even as it was being integrated into Roman culture, Isis's worship developed new features that emphasized its Egyptian background. 146–147. The cults also expanded into Rome's western provinces, beginning along the Mediterranean coast in early imperial times. At their peak in the late 2nd and early 3rd centuries CE, Isis and Serapis were worshipped in most towns across the Western Empire, though without much presence in the countryside. 148. Their temples were found from Petra and Palmyra, in the Arabian and Syrian provinces, to Italica in Spain and Londinium in Britain. 149. By this time they were on a comparable footing with native Roman deities. 150. Roles. Roman statue of Isis, 1st or 2nd century CE. She holds a sistrum and a pitcher of water, although these attributes were added in a 17th century renovation. 151. Isis's cult, like others in the Greco-Roman world, had no firm dogma, and its beliefs and practices may have stayed only loosely similar as it diffused across the region and evolved over time. 152–153. Greek aretalogies that praise Isis provide much of the information about these beliefs. Parts of these aretalogies closely resemble ideas in late Egyptian hymns like those at Phili, while other elements are thoroughly Greek. 154. Other information comes from Plutarch, c. 46–120 CE, whose book on Isis and Osiris interprets the Egyptian deities based on his Middle Platonist philosophy 155, and from several works of Greek and Latin literature that refer to Isis's worship, especially a novel by Apuleius, c. 125–180 CE, known as Metamorphoses or the Golden Ass, which ends by describing how the main character has a vision of the goddess and becomes her devotee. 156. Elaborating upon Isis's role as a wife and mother in the Osiris myth, Aretologes call her the inventor of marriage and parenthood. She was invoked to protect women in childbirth and, in ancient Greek novels such as the Ephesian Tale, to protect their virginity. 157. Some ancient texts called her the patroness of women in general. 158–159. Her cult may have served to promote women's autonomy in a limited way, with Isis's power and authority serving as a precedent, but in myth she was devoted to, and never fully independent of, her husband and son. The Aretologes show ambiguous attitudes toward women's independence. One says Isis made women equal to men, whereas another says she made women subordinate to their husbands. 160–161. Isis was often characterized as a moon goddess, paralleling the solar characteristics of Serapis. 162. She was also seen as a cosmic goddess more generally. Various texts claim she organized the behavior of the sun, moon, and stars, governing time and the seasons which, in turn, guaranteed the fertility of the earth. 163. These texts also credit her with inventing agriculture, establishing laws, and devising or promoting other elements of human society. This idea derives from older Greek traditions about the role of various Greek deities and culture heroes, including Demeter, in establishing civilization. 164. She also oversaw seas and harbors. Sailors left inscriptions calling upon her to ensure the safety and good fortune of their voyages. In this role she was called Isis Pelagia, Isis of the sea, or Isis Pharia, referring to a sail or to the island of Pharos, site of the lighthouse of Alexandria. 165. This form of Isis, which emerged in Hellenistic times, may have been inspired by Egyptian images of Isis in a bark, as well as by Greek deities who protected seafaring, such as Aphrodite. 166–167. Isis Pelagia developed an added significance in Rome. Rome's food supply was dependent on grain shipments from its provinces, especially Egypt. Isis therefore guaranteed fertile harvests and protected the ships that carried the resulting food across the seas and thus ensured the well-being of the empire as a whole. 168. Her protection of the state was said to extend to Rome's armies, much as it was in Ptolemaic Egypt, and she was sometimes called Isis Invicta, unconquered Isis. 169. Her roles were so numerous that she came to be called Myrionymus, one with countless names, and Panthea, all-goddess. 170. Both Plutarch and a later philosopher, Proclus, mentioned a veiled statue of the Egyptian goddess Neith, whom they conflated with Isis, citing it as an example of her universality and enigmatic wisdom. It bore the words, "I am all that has been and is and will be, and no mortal has ever lifted my mantle." 171. Note 7. Isis was also said to benefit her followers in the afterlife, which was not much emphasized in Greek and Roman religion. 174. The golden ass and inscriptions left by worshippers of Isis suggest that many of her followers thought she would guarantee them a better afterlife in return for their devotion. They characterized this afterlife inconsistently. Some said they would benefit from Osiris's enlivening water, while others expected to sail to the Fortunate Isles of Greek tradition. 175. As in Egypt, Isis was said to have power over fate, which in traditional Greek religion was a power not even the gods could defy. Valentino Gasparini says this control over destiny binds together Isis's disparate traits. She governs the cosmos, yet she also relieves people of their comparatively trivial misfortunes, and her influence extends into the realm of death, which is individual and universal at the same time. 176. Relationships with other deities. Isis welcoming Io to Egypt, from a fresco at Pompeii, 1st century CE. More than a dozen Egyptian deities were worshipped outside Egypt in Hellenistic and Roman times in a series of interrelated cults, though many were fairly minor. 177 of the most important of these deities, Serapis was closely connected with Isis and often appeared with her in art, but Osiris remained central to her myth and prominent in her rituals. 178 temples to Isis and Serapis sometimes stood next to each other, but it was rare for a single temple to be dedicated to both. 179 Osiris, as a dead deity unlike the immortal gods of Greece, seemed strange to Greeks and played only a minor role in Egyptian cults in Hellenistic times. In Roman times he became, like Dionysus, a symbol of a joyous afterlife, and the Isis cult increasingly focused on him. 180 Horus, often under the name Harpocrates, also appeared in Isis's temples as her son by Osiris or Serapis. He absorbed traits from Greek deities such as Apollo and served as a god of the sun and of crops. 181 Another member of the group was Anubis, who was linked to the Greek god Hermes in his Hellenized form Hermanubis. 182 Isis was also sometimes said to have learned her wisdom from, or even be the daughter of, Thoth, the Egyptian god of writing and knowledge, who was known in the Greco-Roman world as Hermes Trismegistus. 183–184 Isis also had an extensive network of connections with Greek and Roman deities, as well as some from other cultures. She was not fully integrated into the Greek pantheon, but she was at different times equated with a variety of Greek mythological figures, including Demeter, Aphrodite, or Io, a human woman who was turned into a cow and chased by the goddess Hera from Greece to Egypt. 185 The cult of Demeter was an especially important influence on Isis's worship after its arrival in Greece. 186 Isis's relationship with women was influenced by her frequent equation with Artemis, who had a dual role as a virgin goddess and a promoter of fertility. 187 Because of Isis's power over fate, she was linked with the Greek and Roman personifications of fortune, Tyche, and Fortuna. 188 At Byblos in Phoenicia in the 2nd millennium BCE, Hathor had been worshipped as a form of the local goddess Baalat-Gebal. Isis gradually replaced Hathor there in the course of the 1st millennium BCE 189 and became syncretized with another goddess from the region, Astarte. 190 In Naricum in Central Europe, Isis was syncretized with the local tutelary deity Noria 191 and at Petra she may have been linked with the Arab goddess Alua. 192 The Roman author Tacitus said Isis was worshipped by the Suebi, a Germanic people living outside the empire, but he may have mistaken a Germanic goddess for Isis because, like her, the goddess was symbolized by a ship. 193 Many of the Aretalogies include long lists of goddesses with whom Isis was linked. These texts treat all the deities they list as forms of her, suggesting that in the eyes of the authors she was a sumodeistic being, the one goddess for the entire civilized world. 194–195 In the Roman religious world, many deities were referred to as one or unique in religious texts like these. At the same time, Hellenistic philosophers frequently saw the unifying, abstract principle of the cosmos as divine. Many of them reinterpreted traditional religions to fit their concept of this highest being, as Plutarch did with Isis and Osiris. 196 In the Golden Ass Isis says my one person manifests the aspects of all the gods and goddesses and that she is worshipped by all the world under different forms, with various rites, and by manifold names, although the Egyptians and Nubians use her true name, Isis. 197–198 But when she lists the forms in which various Mediterranean peoples worship her, she mentions only female deities. 199 Greco-Roman deities were firmly divided by gender, thus limiting how universal Isis could truly be. One Aretalogi avoids this problem by calling Isis and Serapis, who was often said to subsume many male gods, the two unique deities. 200–201 Similarly, both Plutarch and Apuleius limit Isis's importance by treating her as ultimately subordinate to Osiris. 202 The claim that she was unique was meant to emphasize her greatness more than to make a precise theological statement. 200–201 Iconography. Images of Isis made outside Egypt were Hellenistic in style, like many of the images of her made in Egypt in Hellenistic and Roman times. The attributes she bore varied widely. 203 She sometimes wore the Hathoric cow horn headdress, but Greeks and Romans reduced its size and often interpreted it as a crescent moon. 204 She could also wear headdresses incorporating leaves, flowers, or ears of grain. 205 Other common traits included corkscrew locks of hair and an elaborate mantle tied in a large knot over the breasts, which originated in ordinary Egyptian clothing but was treated as a symbol of the goddess outside Egypt. 206 Note 8 In her hands she could carry a uraeus or a sistrum, both taken from her Egyptian iconography. 208 Or a situla, a vessel used for libations of water or milk that were performed in Isis's cult. 209 As Isis Fortuna or Isis Tyche she held a rudder, representing control of fate, in her right hand and a cornucopia, standing for abundance, in her left. 210 As Isis Feria she wore a cloak that billowed behind her like a sail, and as Isis Lactans, she nursed Harpocrates. 211 At times she was shown resting a foot on a celestial sphere, representing her control of the cosmos. 212 The diverse imagery sprang from her varied roles. As Robert Stephen Bianchi says, Isis could represent anything to anyone and could be represented in any way imaginable. 213 Bust of Isis Sothis Demeter from Hadrian's Villa, 2nd century CE. Statue of Isis Persephone with corkscrew locks of hair and a sistrum, from Gordina, 2nd century CE. Isis Aphrodite, polychrome terracotta, Alexandria, 1st century CE. Bronze figurine of Isis Fortuna with a cornucopia and a rudder, 1st century CE. Fresco of Isis wearing a crescent headdress and resting her foot on a celestial sphere, 1st century CE. Anubis, Harpocrates, Isis, and Serapis, fresco from Pompeii. Worship. Funerary stele of Alexandra priestess of Isis, Nama, Athens. Adherents and priests. Like most cults of the time, the Isis cult did not require its devotees to worship Isis exclusively, and their level of commitment probably varied greatly. 214 Some devotees of Isis served as priests in a variety of cults and underwent several initiations dedicated to different deities. 215 Nevertheless, many emphasized their strong devotion to her, and some considered her the focus of their lives. 216 They were among the very few religious groups in the Greco-Roman world to have a distinctive name for themselves, loosely equivalent to Jew or Christian, that might indicate they defined themselves by their religious affiliation. However, the word Isiacus or Isiac was rarely used. 214 Isiacs were a very small proportion of the Roman Empire's population. 217 But they came from every level of society, from slaves and freedmen to high officials and members of the imperial family. 218 Ancient accounts imply that Isis was popular with lower social classes, providing a possible reason why authorities in the Roman Republic, troubled by struggles between classes, regarded her cult with suspicion. 219 Women were more strongly represented in the Isis cult than in most Greco-Roman cults, and in imperial times, they could serve as priestesses in many of the same positions in the hierarchy as their male counterparts. 220 Women make up much less than half of the Isiacs known from inscriptions and are rarely listed among the higher ranks of priests. 221 But because women are underrepresented in Roman inscriptions, their participation may have been greater than is recorded. 222 Several Roman writers accused Isis's cult of encouraging promiscuity among women. Jamie Alvar suggests the cult attracted male suspicion simply because it gave women a venue to act outside their husband's control. 223 Priests of Isis were known for their distinctive shaven heads and white linen clothes, both characteristics drawn from Egyptian priesthoods and their requirements of ritual purity. 224 A temple of Isis could include several ranks of priests, as well as various cultic associations and specialized duties for lay devotees. 225 There is no evidence of a hierarchy overseeing multiple temples, and each temple may well have functioned independently of the others. 226. Temples and daily rites. Fresco of an Isiac gathering, 1st century CE. One priest tends a fire while another holds up a vessel of sacred water at the door of a temple flanked by sphinxes. 227. Temples to Egyptian deities outside Egypt, such as the Red Basilica in Pergamon, the Temple of Isis at Pompeii, or the Isium Campans in Rome, were built in a largely Greco-Roman style but, like Egyptian temples, were surrounded by large courts enclosed by walls. They were decorated with Egyptian-themed artwork, sometimes including antiquities imported from Egypt. Their layout was more elaborate than that of traditional Roman temples and included rooms for housing priests and for various ritual functions, with the cult statue of the goddess in a secluded sanctuary. 228–229 Unlike Egyptian cult images, Isis's Hellenistic and Roman statues were life-size or larger. The daily ritual still entailed dressing the statue in elaborate clothes each morning and offering it libations, but in contrast with Egyptian tradition, the priests allowed ordinary devotees of Isis to see the cult statue during the morning ritual, pray to it directly, and sing hymns before it. 230. Another object of veneration in these temples was water, which was treated as a symbol of the waters of the Nile. Isis temples built in Hellenistic times often included underground cisterns that stored this sacred water, raising and lowering the water level in imitation of the Nile flood. Many Roman temples instead used a pitcher of water that was worshipped as a cult image or manifestation of Osiris. 231. Personal worship. Roman Lararia, or household shrines, contained statuettes of the Penates, a varied group of protective deities chosen based on the preferences of the members of the household. 232 Isis and other Egyptian deities were found in Lararia in Italy from the late 1st century BCE 233 to the beginning of the 4th century CE. 234. The cult asked both ritual and moral purity of its devotees, periodically requiring ritual baths or days-long periods of sexual abstinence. Isiacs sometimes displayed their piety on irregular occasions, singing Isis's praises in the streets or, as a form of penance, declaring their misdeeds in public. 235. Some temples to Greek deities, including Serapis, practiced incubation, in which worshippers slept in a temple hoping that the god would appear to them in a dream and give them advice or heal their ailments. Some scholars believe that this practice took place in Isis's temples, but there is no firm evidence that it did. 236 Isis was, however, thought to communicate through dreams in other circumstances, including to call worshippers to undergo initiation. 237. Initiation. Main article, Mysteries of Isis. Some temples of Isis performed mystery rites to initiate new members of the cult. These rites were claimed to be of Egyptian origin and may have drawn on the secretive tendencies of some Egyptian rites. 238 However, they were mainly based on Greek mystery cults, especially the Eleusinian mysteries dedicated to Demeter, colored with Egyptian elements. 239–240 Note 9 Although mystery rites are among the best-known elements of Isis's Greco-Roman cult, they are only known to have been performed in Italy, Greece, and Asia Minor. 243 By giving the devotee a dramatic, mystical experience of the goddess, initiations added emotional intensity to the process of joining her following. 237. The Golden Ass, in describing how the protagonist joins Isis's cult, gives the only detailed account of Isiac initiation. 245 Apuleius's motives for writing about the cult and the accuracy of his fictionalized description are much debated. But the account is broadly consistent with other evidence about initiations, and scholars rely heavily on it when studying the subject. 246. Ancient mystery rites used a variety of intense experiences, such as nocturnal darkness interrupted by bright light and loud music and noise, to overwhelm their senses and give them an intense religious experience that felt like direct contact with the god they devoted themselves to. 247 Apuleius's protagonist, Lucius, undergoes a series of initiations, though only the first is described in detail. After entering the innermost part of Isis's temple at night, he says, "I came to the boundary of death and, having trodden on the threshold of Proserpina, I travelled through all the elements and returned. In the middle of the night I saw the sun flashing with bright light, I came face to face with the gods below and the gods above and paid reverence to them from close at hand." 248. This cryptic description suggests that the initiate's symbolic journey to the world of the dead was likened to Osiris's rebirth, as well as to Ra's journey through the underworld in Egyptian myth. 249, possibly implying that Isis brought the initiate back from death as she did her husband. 250. Festivals. Roman calendars listed the two most important festivals of Isis as early as the 1st century CE. The first festival was the Navagium Isides in March, which celebrated Isis's influence over the sea and served as a prayer for the safety of seafarers and, eventually, of the Roman people and their leaders. 251. It consisted of an elaborate procession, including Isiac priests and devotees with a wide variety of costumes and sacred emblems, carrying a model ship from the local Isis temple to the sea. 252 or to a nearby river. 253. The other was the Isia in late October and early November. Like its Egyptian forerunner, the Khoiak festival, the Isia included a ritual reenactment of Isis's search for Osiris, followed by jubilation when the god's body was found. 254. Several more minor festivals were dedicated to Isis, including the Pelusia in late March that may have celebrated the birth of Harpocrates, and the Lychnapsia, or lamp-lit festival, that celebrated Isis's own birth on August 12. 251. Festivals of Isis and other polytheistic deities were celebrated throughout the 4th century CE, despite the growth of Christianity in that era and the persecution of pagans that intensified toward the end of the century. 255. The Isia was celebrated at least as late as 417 CE. 256 and the Navagium Isides lasted well into the 6th century. 257. Increasingly, the religious meaning of all Roman festivals was forgotten or ignored even as the customs continued. In some cases, these customs became part of the combined classical and Christian culture of the early Middle Ages. 258. Possible influence on Christianity. Isis lactans holding Harpocrates in an Egyptian fresco at Karanis, dating to the 4th century CE. A contentious question about Isis is whether her cult influenced Christianity. 259. Some Isiac customs may have been among the pagan religious practices that were incorporated into Christian traditions as the Roman Empire was Christianized. Andreas Alfoldi, for instance, argued in the 1930s that the medieval carnival festival, in which a model boat was carried, developed from the Navagium Isides. 260. Much attention focuses on whether traits of Christianity were borrowed from pagan mystery cults, including that of Isis. 261. The more devoted members of Isis's cult made a personal commitment to a deity they regarded as superior to others, as Christians did. 262. Both Christianity and the Isis cult had an initiation rite, the mysteries for Isis, baptism in Christianity. 263. One of the mystery cults shared themes: a god whose death and resurrection may be connected with the individual worshipper's well-being in the afterlife resembles the central theme of Christianity. The suggestion that Christianity's basic beliefs were taken from mystery cults has provoked heated debate for more than 200 years. 264. In response to these controversies, both Hugh Bowden and Jamie Alvar, scholars who study ancient mystery cults, suggest that similarities between Christianity and the mystery cults were not produced by direct borrowing of ideas but by their common background, the Greco-Roman culture in which they all developed. 263-265. Similarities between Isis and Mary, the mother of Jesus, have also been scrutinized. They have been subject to controversy between Protestant Christians and the Catholic Church, as many Protestants have argued that Catholic veneration of Mary is a remnant of paganism. 266. The classicist R. E. Witt saw Isis as the great forerunner of Mary. He suggested that converts to Christianity who had formerly worshipped Isis would have seen Mary in much the same terms as their traditional goddess. He pointed out that the two had several spheres of influence in common, such as agriculture and the protection of sailors. He compared Mary's title Mother of God to Isis's epithet Mother of the God, and Mary's Queen of Heaven to Isis's Queen of Heaven. 267 Stephen Benko, a historian of early Christianity, argues that devotion to Mary was deeply influenced by the worship of several goddesses, not just Isis. 268 In contrast, John McGuckin, a church historian, says that Mary absorbed superficial traits from these goddesses, such as iconography, but the fundamentals of her cult were thoroughly Christian. 269. Images of Isis with Horus in her lap are often suggested as an influence on the iconography of Mary, particularly images of the Mary nursing the infant Jesus, as images of nursing women were rare in the ancient Mediterranean world outside Egypt. 270 Vincent Tran Tam Tin points out that the latest images of Isis nursing Horus date to the 4th century CE, while the earliest images of Mary nursing Jesus date to the 7th century CE. Sabrina Higgins, drawing on his study, argues that if there is a connection between the iconographies of Isis and Mary, it is limited to images from Egypt. 271 In contrast, Thomas F. Matthews and Norman Muller think Isis's pose in late antique panel paintings influenced several types of Marian icons, inside and outside Egypt. 272 Elizabeth Ballman says these early Egyptian images of Mary nursing Jesus were meant to emphasize his divinity, much as images of nursing goddesses did in ancient Egyptian iconography. 273 Higgins argues that such similarities prove that images of Isis influenced those of Mary, but not that Christians deliberately adopted Isis's iconography or other elements of her cult. 274. Influence in later cultures. Further information, Ancient Egypt in the Western Imagination. Isis as a veiled goddess of life at the Herbert Hoover National Historic Site. The memory of Isis survived the extinction of her worship. Like the Greeks and Romans, many modern Europeans have regarded ancient Egypt as the home of profound and often mystical wisdom, and this wisdom has often been linked with Isis. 275 Giovanni Boccaccio's biography of Isis in his 1374 work De Mulieribus Claris, based on classical sources, treated her as a historical queen who taught skills of civilization to humankind. Some Renaissance thinkers elaborated this perspective on Isis. Agnolo da Viterbo, in the 1490s, claimed Isis and Osiris had civilized Italy before Greece, thus drawing a direct connection between his home country and Egypt. The Borgia apartments painted for Agnolo's patron, Pope Alexander VI, incorporate this same theme in their illustrated rendition of the Osiris myth. 276. Western esotericism has often made reference to Isis. Two Roman esoteric texts used the mythic motif in which Isis passes down secret knowledge to Horus. In Kore Cosmu, she teaches him wisdom passed down from Hermes Trismegistus 277, and in the early alchemical text Isis the prophetess to her son Horus, she gives him alchemical recipes. 278 Early modern esoteric literature, which saw Hermes Trismegistus as an Egyptian sage and frequently made use of texts attributed to his hand, sometimes referred to Isis as well. 279 In a different vein, Apuleius's description of Isiac initiation has influenced the practices of many secret societies. 280 Jean Terrason's 1731 novels thus used Apuleius as inspiration for a fanciful Egyptian initiation rite dedicated to Isis. 281 It was imitated by actual rituals in various Masonic and Masonic-inspired societies during the 18th century, as well as in other literary works, most notably Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's 1791 opera The Magic Flute. 282. From the Renaissance on, the veiled statue of Isis that Plutarch and Proclus mentioned was interpreted as a personification of nature, based on a passage in the works of Macrobius in the 5th century CE that equated Isis with nature. 283 Note 10 Authors in the 17th and 18th centuries ascribed a wide variety of meanings to this image. Isis represented nature as the mother of all things, as a set of truths waiting to be unveiled by science, as a symbol of the pantheist concept of an anonymous, enigmatic deity who was immanent within nature. 284, or as an awe-inspiring sublime power that could be experienced through ecstatic mystery rites. 285, in the de-Christianization of France during the French Revolution, she served as an alternative to traditional Christianity, a symbol that could represent nature, modern scientific wisdom, and a link to the pre-Christian past. 286, for these reasons, Isis's image appeared in artwork sponsored by the revolutionary government, such as the Fontaine de la Regeneration, and by the First French Empire. 287–288, the metaphor of Isis's veil continued to circulate through the 19th century. Helena Blavatsky, the founder of the esoteric theosophical tradition, titled her 1877 book on Theosophy Isis Unveiled, implying that it would reveal spiritual truths about nature that science could not. 289. Among modern Egyptians, Isis was used as a national symbol during the Pharaonism movement of the 1920s and 1930s, as Egypt gained independence from British rule. In works such as Mohammad Nagy's painting in the Parliament of Egypt, titled Egypt's Renaissance, and Tawfiq al-Hakim's play The Return of the Spirit, Isis symbolizes the revival of the nation. A sculpture by Mahmoud Mokhtar, also called Egypt's Renaissance, plays upon the motif of Isis's removing her veil. 290. Isis is found frequently in works of fiction, such as a superhero franchise, and her name and image appear in places as disparate as advertisements and personal names. 291. The name Isidoros, meaning gift of Isis in Greek 292, survived in Christianity despite its pagan origins, giving rise to the English name Isidore and its variants. 293. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, Isis itself became a popular feminine given name. 294. Isis continues to appear in modern esoteric and pagan belief systems. The concept of a single goddess incarnating all feminine divine powers, partly inspired by Apuleius, became a widespread theme in literature of the 19th and early 20th centuries. 295. Influential groups and figures in esotericism, such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in the late 19th century and Dion Fortune in the 1930s, adopted this all-encompassing goddess into their belief systems and called her Isis. This conception of Isis influenced the great goddess found in many forms of neopagan witchcraft. 296–297. Today, reconstructions of ancient Egyptian religion, such as Kemetic Orthodoxy 298 or the Church of the Eternal Source, include Isis among the deities they revere. 299. An eclectic religious organization focused on female divinity calls itself the Fellowship of Isis because, in the words of one of its priestesses, M. Isidora Forrest, Isis can be all goddesses to all people. 300. See also: Traditional African Religion Portal. Notes. Ancient Egyptian, Romanized, St2 Coptic, Say, Classical Greek, Sigma Iota, Meroitic, Woz A or Wuza, Phoenician, 4 Romanized, S. The worship of a particular god, such as Isis, within ancient Egyptian religion is termed a cult. 10. The same is often true for the worship of individual gods within Greek or Roman religion. Classicists sometimes refer to the veneration of Isis, or of certain other deities who were introduced to the Greco-Roman world, as religions because they were more distinct from the culture around them than the cults of Greek or Roman gods. 11. However, these cults did not form the kind of independent, self-contained communities with distinct worldviews that Jewish and Christian groups in the Roman Empire did. 12. François Dunant and Jamie Alvar have both argued that the worship of Isis should be called a cult, because it formed a part of the wider systems of Greek and Roman religion, rather than an independent, all-encompassing system of beliefs like Judaism or Christianity. 11.13. Originally the first consonant in the name, was pronounced as R or L. By the time of the New Kingdom it had weakened to a glottal stop sound, and the T at the end of words had disappeared from speech. so in the New Kingdom the pronunciation of Isis's name was similar to USA. Forms of her name in other languages all descend from this pronunciation. 14. The Meroitic forms of her name, was a or as a, indicate the pronunciation /ua/. 3. These figurines, which were common in Roman Egypt, are often thought to depict Isis or Hathor combined with Aphrodite, but it is not even certain that they represent a goddess. 83. The exposed genitals may represent fertility. 82. Or be meant to ward off evil. 83. Scholars have traditionally believed, based on the writings of Procopius, that Philly was closed in about AD 535 by a military expedition under Justinian I. Jitse Dijkstra has argued that Procopius's account of the temple closure is inaccurate and that regular religious activity there ceased shortly after the last date inscribed at the temple, in 456 or 457 CE. 115. Eugene Cruz-Uraby suggests instead that during the 5th and 6th centuries the temple lay empty most of the time, but Nubians living nearby continued to hold periodic festivals there until well into the 6th century. 116. Tiberius's expulsion of the Egyptian cults was part of a broader reaction against religious practices that were regarded as a threat to order and tradition, including Judaism and astrology. Josephus, a Roman Jewish historian who gives the most detailed account of the expulsion, says the Egyptian cults were targeted because of a scandal in which a man posed as Anubis, with the help of Isis's priests, in order to seduce a Roman noblewoman. Saralta Tacitus casts doubt on Josephus's account, arguing that it is fictionalized in order to convey a moral point. 144. The statue was at a temple in Sais, Neith's cult center. She was largely conflated with Isis in Plutarch's time, and he says the statue is of Athena Neith, whom the Egyptians consider to be Isis. Proclus' version of the quotation says, "No one has ever lifted my veil," implying that the goddess is virginal. 172. This claim was occasionally made of Isis in Greco-Roman times, though it conflicted with the widespread belief that she and Osiris together conceived Horus. 173. Proclus also adds, "The fruit of my womb was the sun," suggesting that the goddess conceived and gave birth to the sun without the participation of a male deity, which would mean it referred to Egyptian myths about Neith as the mother of Ra. 172. This knot is sometimes called the Isis knot, although it should not be confused with the Tayat symbol, which is also sometimes called the knot of Isis. 207. The mystery rites may have emerged as part of the Hellenization of Isis under the Ptolemies in the 3rd century BCE. 241. In Greece under the influence of the cult of Demeter in the 1st century BCE. 242. Or as late as the 1st or 2nd century CE. 243. Even after the initiation ceremony had developed, few texts in Egypt referred to it. 244. Early modern illustrations of Isis as nature often showed her with multiple breasts. Originally, the form of Artemis that was worshipped at Ephesus was depicted with round protuberances on her chest that came to be interpreted as breasts. Early modern artists drew Isis in this form because Macrobius claimed that both Isis and Artemis were depicted this way. 283. References. Citations. Hart 2005, p. 79. Jump Up To, ABCD Quack 2018, p. 108. Jump Up To, A.B. Riley and DeVoe 2012, p. 37. Sci 308, Res 367. Wilkinson 2003, pages 12-14, 146. Griffiths 1980, p. 41. Munster 1968, p. 159. Pinch 2002, pages 9-11. Munster 1968, p. 158. Teeter 2001, p. 340. Jump Up To, A.B. Alvar 2008, pages 2-4. Burkhardt 1987, pages 51-53. Doonan 2010, pages 40-41, 50-51. Jump Up To, A.B. Quack 2018, pages 108-109. Jump Up To, A.B. Griffiths 1980, pages 91, 95-97. Frankfurt 1978, pages 43-44, 108. Coleman 2011, p. 2. Wilkinson 2003, p. 119. Jump up to, A.B. Vinson 2008, pages 313-316. Dunand and Zivikosh 2004, pages 235-237. Pinch 2002, pages 66, 68, 76-78. Jump up to, A.B. Pinch 2002, pages 79-80, 178-179. Pinch 2002, pages 80, 150. Assman 2005, pages 32-36, 115-118. Smith 2009, pages 54-55, 97-99. Assman 2001, pages 129-131, 144-145. Jump up to, A.B. Cooney 2010, pages 227-228. Assman 2005, pages 151-154. Cooney 2010, pages 235-236. Smith 2009, pages 119, 141. Vennett 2010, pages 98, 107. Smith 2017, p. 386. Lesko 1999, pages 158-159. Jump up to, A.B. Griffiths 1980, pages 14-17. Griffiths 1970, pages 300-301. Pinch 2002, p. 149. Pinch 2002, pages 80-81, 146. Meeks and Favard Meeks 1996, pages 82, 86-87. Lesko 1999, p. 182. Lesko 1999, p. 176. Griffiths 2001, p. 189. Pinch 2002, p. 145. Wilkinson 2003, p. 115. Tronecker 2001, pages 221-222. Jump up to, A.B.C.D. Munster 1968, pages 134-135. Griffiths 1960, pages 48-50. Meeks and Favard Meeks 1996, p. 67. Smith 2017, p. 393. Pinch 2002, p. 115. Lesko 1999, pages 180-181. Meeks and Favard Meeks 1996, pages 185-186. Jump up to, A.B. Vanderlip 1972, pages 93-96. Lesko 1999, pages 159, 170. Assman 2001, p. 134. Jump up to, A.B. Troy 1986, pages 68-70. Jump up to, A.B. Abker 1988, pages 60-62, 72. Abker 1988, pages 73-74, 81-82. Jump up to, A.B. Pinch 2002, p. 151. Meeks and Favard Meeks 1996, p. 98. Jump up to, A.B.C. Hart 2005, pages 81-82. Baines 1996, p. 371. Wilkinson 2003, p. 147. Griffiths 1980, pages 12-14, 157-158. Abker 1988, p. 114. Tobin 2001, p. 466. Abker 1988, pages 43-44, 81-82. Delia 1998, pages 546-547. Jump up to, A.B.C.D.E. Abker 1988, pages 52-53. Abker 1988, pages 42-44, 67. Assmann 1997, pages 49-50. Assmann 2001, pages 240-242. Wendt 2001, pages 433-434. Smith 2010, p. 169. McLean 2011, pages 3-4. Pinch 2002, pages 61-62. Frankfurter 1998, pages 99-102. Jump up to, A. B. C. D. Wilkinson 2003, pages 148-149, 160. Griffiths 1980, pages 49-50. Wilkinson 2003, pages 168-169. Frankfurter 1998, pages 102-103. Bianchi 2007, pages 493-494. Jump up to, A. B. Frankfurter 1998, p. 104. Jump up to, A. B. Sandry 2012, pages 637-638. Hart 2005, p. 80. Andrews 2001, p. 80. Frankfurt 1978, pages 43-44, 123, 137. Lesko 1999, p. 170. Troy 1986, p. 70. Brickholt and Verlies 2014, pages 30-31. Morcote 2012, pages 121-122, 124. Pfeiffer 2008, pages 387-388. Thompson 1998, pages 699, 704-707. Solmsen 1979, pages 56-57. Pfeiffer 2008, pages 391-392, 400-403. Plantsos 2011, pages 389-396. Munster 1968, pages 189-190. Lesko 1999, p. 169. Munster 1968, pages 165-166. Wilkinson 2003, p. 149. Dijkstra 2008, pages 186-187. Dunant and Zivikosh 2004, pages 236-237, 242. Dijkstra 2008, pages 133, 137, 206-208. Yellen 2012a, p. 245. Yellen 2012b, pages 133. Dunant and Zivikosh 2004, pages 89-91. Jump up to, A. B. Dunant and Zivikosh 2004, pages 300-301. Nerbout 2007, pages 541, 547. Dunant and Zivikosh 2004, p. 93. Assmann 2005, p. 363. Jump up to, A. B. Lesko 1999, pages 172-174. Smith 2009, pages 96-98, 103. Frankfurter 1998, pages 56, 61, 103-104. Dijkstra 2008, pp. 202-210. Frankfurter 1998, pages 18-20, 26-27. Jump up to, A. B. Dijkstra 2008, pages 342-347. Cruz Euroby 2010, pages 504-506. Lesko 1999, pages 163-164, 166-168. Hayes 2010, pages 4-5. Lesko 1999, pages 175, 177-179. Smith 2009, pages 54-55, 462. Yellen 2012b, p. 137. Dunant and Zivikosh 2004, p. 137. Kockelman 2008, p. 73. Cockleman 2008, pages 38-40, 81. Wilkinson 2003, p. 146. Matthews and Muller 2005, pages 5-6. Pinch 2006, pages 29, 144-146. Pinch 2006, pages 128-129. Meyer 1994, pages 27-29. Frankfurter 2009, pages 230-231. Wolf 2014, pages 73-79. Bamas 2012, pages 428-429. Ma 2014, pages 133-134. Hornung 2001, pages 19-25. Bremer 2014, pages 140-141. Bamas 2012, pages 431-432. Jump up to, ABC Verlies 2004, pages 443-447. Orland 2010, pages 37. Beard, North and Price 1998, p. 161. Tackix 1995, pages 64-67. Orland 2010, pages 204-207. Donaldson 2003, pages 124-125. Orland 2010, p. 211. Tackix 1995, pages 83-86. Donaldson 2003, pages 138-139, 159-162. Wild 1981, pages 149-151. Bamas 2012, p. 431. Brickall 2000, p. 206. Brickall 2001, pages 174-179. Donaldson 2003, pages 177, 180-182. Tyradritti 2005, pages 21, 212. Beard, North and Price 1998, pages 248-249, 301-303. Alvar 2008, pages 216-217. Abker 1988, pages 135-137, 159-160. Alvar 2008, pages 39-40. Donaldson 2003, pages 17-18. Hiob 1975, pages 48-50, 66-70. Hiob 1975, p. 53. Kramer 1992, p. 74. Kramer 1992, pages 76-77. Alvar 2008, pages 190-192. Sfamini Gasparo 2007, p. 43. Pachis 2010, pages 307-313. Solmson 1979, pages 34-35, 40-43. Donaldson 2003, pages 68, 74-75. Alvar 2008, pages 296-300. Legras 2014, pages 96-97. Pachis 2010, pages 283-286. Donaldson 2003, pages 177-178. Donaldson 2003, p. 10. Griffiths 1970, pages 131, 284-285. Jump up to, A.B. Assman 1997, pages 118-119. Griffiths 1970, p. 284. Beard, North and Price 1998, pages 289-290. Gasparini 2016, pages 135-137. Gasparini 2011, pages 700, 716-717. Verlies 2007, pages 3-4. Tackix 1995, pages 28-29. Renberg 2017, p. 331. Bamas 2012, pages 425, 430-431. Witt 1997, pages 210-212. Witt 1997, pages 198-203. Witt 1997, pages 206-207. Griffiths 1970, p. 263. Solmson 1979, pages 16-19, 53-57. Pakanen 1996, pages 91, 94-100. Hiob 1975, pages 72-73. Donaldson 2003, p. 8. Hollis 2009, pages 3-5. Griffiths 1970, p. 326. Wolf 2014, p. 84. Lehelma and Fema 2008, pages 209-11. Rives 1999, pages 80, 162. Sfamini Gasparo 2007, pages 54-56. Smith 2010, pages 243-246. Van Nuffelen 2010, pages 17-21, 26-27. Hansen 1989, p. 299. Griffiths 1975, pages 154-155. Griffiths 1975, pages 143-144. Jump up to, A. B. Versnell 2011, pages 299-301. Jump up to, A. B. Belage 2010, pages 151-152. Gasparini 2011, pages 706-708. Bianchi 2007, pages 480-482, 494. Delia 1998, pages 542-543. Griffiths 1975, pages 124-126. Walters 1988, pages 5-7. Bianchi 1980, p. 10. Griffiths 1975, pages 132-135. Walters 1988, pages 20-25. Donaldson 2003, pages 6-7. Donaldson 2003, pages 6-7, 74. Pachis 2010, pages 305-306. Bianchi 2007, p. 494. Jump up to, A. B. Beard, North End Price 1998, pages 236, 307-309. Burkhardt 1987, pages 46-50. BGH 2015, pages 279-282. Alvar 2008, pages 32-33. Tackix 1995, pages 5-6. Orland 2010, p. 206. Hiob 1975, p. 87. Hiob 1975, pages 95-96. Kramer 1992, p. 76. Alvar 2008, pages 183-184. Donaldson 2003, p. 49. Hiob 1975, pages 93-94, 103-105. Bowden 2010, p. 177. Witt 1997, p. 117. Amis 2012, p. 430. Turkin 1996, pages 104-109. Donaldson 2003, pages 34-35, 39. Wild 1981, pages 60-61, 154-157. Bodel 2008, pages 258, 261-262. Alvar 2008, p. 192. Bodel 2008, p. 261. BGH 2015, pages 281-282. Renberg 2017, pages 392-393. Jump up to, A. B. BGH 2015, p. 278. Griffiths 1970, pages 42-43. Burkhardt 1987, p. 41. Bremer 2014, p. 116. Alvar 2008, pages 58-61. Pakanen 1996, pages 78-82. Jump up to, A.B. Bremer 2014, pages 113-114. Venet 2010, p. 90. Burkert 1987, p. 97. Bowden 2010, pages 165-167, 179-180. Bowden 2010, pages 215-216. Hansen 1989, p. 341. Griffiths 1975, pages 315-317. Turkin 1996, p. 121. Jump up to, A.B. Salzman 1990, pages 169-175. Donaldson 2003, pages 68-73. Alvar 2008, p. 299. Alvar 2008, pages 300-302. Salzman 1990, pages 232-236. Turkin 1996, p. 128. Salzman 1990, p. 239. Salzman 1990, pages 240-246. Alvar 2008, p. 30. Salzman 1990, p. 240. Alvar 2008, pages 383-385. Beard, North and Price 1998, p. 286. Jump up to, A.B. Bowden 2010, pages 207-210. Alvar 2008, pages 390-394. Alvar 2008, pages 419-421. Benko 1993, pages 14. Witt 1997, pages 272-274, 277. Benko 1993, pages 263-265. McGuckin 2008, pages 17-18. Hiob 1975, pages 74-76. Higgins 2012, pages 72-74. Matthews and Muller 2005, pages 6-9. Bauman 2005, pages 17-18. Higgins 2012, pages 78-79. Hornung 2001, pages 189-191, 195-196. Hornung 2001, pages 78, 83-86. Van den Broek 2006, p. 478. Hogg 2006, p. 24. Quinton 2012, pages 148-149. Hornung 2001, p. 196. McPherson 2004, p. 242. Spieth 2007, pages 50-52. Jump up to, A.B. Hadot 2006, pages 233-237. Hadot 2006, pages 266-269. Assman 1997, pages 128-135. Spieth 2007, pages 91, 140. Humbert 2000, pages 175-178. Quinton 2012, pages 177-180. Ziolkowski 2008, pages 75-76. Quinton 2012, pages 225-227. Humbert 2000, pages 185, 188. Donaldson 2003, p. 170. Witt 1997, p. 280. Hezen 2014. Hutton 2019, pages 33-34. Hutton 2019, pages 82-84, 191-192. Adler 1986, pages 35-36, 56. Forrest 2001, p. 236. Adler 1986, pages 267, 270. Forrest 2001, p. 233. Works cited. Adler, Margot, 1986. Drawing Down the Moon, Witches, Druids, Goddess Worshippers, and Other Pagans in America Today, Revised and Expanded Edition. Beacon Press. ISBN 978-0-80703253-4. Alvar, Jamie, 2008, Spanish edition 2001. Romancing Oriental Gods, Myth, Salvation and Ethics in the Cults of Cybele, Isis, and Mithras. Translated and edited by Richard Gordon. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-13293-1. Andrews, Carol A. R. 2001. Amulets. In Redford, Donald B. ed. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt. Volume 1. Oxford University Press. Pages 75-82. ISBN 978-0-19-510234-5. Assmann, Jan, 1997. Moses the Egyptian, The Memory of Egypt in Western Monotheism. Harvard University Press. ISBN 978-0-674-58738-0. Assmann, Jan, 2001, German edition 1984. The Search for God in Ancient Egypt. Translated by David Lorden. Cornell University Press. ISBN 978-0-80143786-1. Assmann, Jan, 2005, German edition 2001. Death and Salvation in Ancient Egypt. Translated by David Lorden. Cornell University Press. ISBN 978-0-8014-4241-4. Baines, John, 1996. Myth and Literature. In La Prino, Antonio, ed. Ancient Egyptian Literature, History and Forms. Brill. Pages 361-377. ISBN 978-90-04-09925-8. Beard, Mary, North, John, Price, Simon, 1998. Religions of Rome, Volume I, A History. Cambridge University Press. ISBN 978-0-521-31682-8. Balach, Nicole, 2010. Dies Deum, Summarum Maximus, Apuleius Ritual Expressions of Distinction in the Divine World in the Imperial Period. In Mitchell, Stephen, Van Nuffelen, Peter, eds. One God, Pagan Monotheism in the Roman Empire. Cambridge University Press. Pages 141-166. ISBN 978-0-521-19416-7. Benko, Stephen, 1993. The Virgin Goddess, Studies in the Pagan and Christian Roots of Mariology. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-09747-6. Bianchi, Robert S. 1980. Not the Isis Knot. Bulletin of the Egyptological Seminar. 2, 931. Bianchi, Robert S. 2007. Images of Isis and her cultic shrines reconsidered, towards an Egyptian understanding of the Interpretatio Graeca. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, Maybaum, Paul G.P. eds. Nile into Tiber, Egypt in the Roman World. Proceedings of the IIIRD International Conference of Isis Studies, Faculty of Archaeology, Leiden University, May 11-14 2005. Brill. Pages 475-05. ISBN 978-90-04-15420-9. Bodel, John, 2008. Cicero's Minerva, Penates, and the Mother of the Lares, An Outline of Roman Domestic Religion. In Bodle, John, Ullian, Sol M. eds. Household and Family Religion in Antiquity. Blackwell Publishing. Pages 248-275. ISBN 978-1-405-17579-1. BGH, Birgit, 2015. Beyond Knock, From Adhesion to Conversion in the Mystery Cults. History of Religions. 54, 326287 doi 10.1086/678994. Jaster 678994. S2CID 1611288887. Ballman, Elizabeth, 2005. The Enigmatic Coptic Galactotrophausa and the Cult of the Virgin Mary in Egypt. In Vasiliki, Maria, ed. Images of the Mother of God, Perceptions of the Theotokos in Byzantium. Ashgate Publishing. Pages 13-21. ISBN 978-0-75463603-8. Bamas, Martin, 2012. Isis, Osiris, and Serapis. In Riggs, Christina, ed. The Oxford Handbook of Roman Egypt. Oxford University Press. Pages 419-435. ISBN 978-0-19-957145-1. Bowden, Hugh, 2010. Mystery Cults of the Ancient World. Princeton University Press. ISBN 978-0-691-14638-6. Bremer, Jan N. 2014. Initiation into the Mysteries of the Ancient World. Walter de Gruyter. ISBN 978-3-11-029955-7. Bricault, Laurent, 2000. Etudes Isiaques, Perspectives. In Bricault, Laurent, ed. De Memphis à Rome, Axe du Ir Colloque International sur les études Isiaques, Poitiers Futuroscope, 8-10 Avril 1999, in French. Brill. Pages 189-10. ISBN 978-90-04-11736-5. Bricault, Laurent, 2001. Atlas de la diffusion des cultes isiaques, in French. Diffusion de Picard. ISBN 978-2-87754-123-7. Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, 2014. Isis and Empires. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, eds. Power, Politics, and the Cults of Isis. Proceedings of the VTH International Conference of Isis Studies, Boulogne-sur-Mer, October 13-15, 2011. Brill. Pages 335. ISBN 978-90-04-27718-2. Burkert, Walter, 1987. Ancient Mystery Cults. Harvard University Press. ISBN 978-0-674-03387-0. Cooney, Kathleen M. December 2010. Gender Transformation in Death, a Case Study of Coffins from Ramesside Period Egypt. Near Eastern Archaeology. 73, 4224-237 doi 10.1086/NIA41103940. Jaster 41103940. S2CID 1664502884. Cruz Uraby, Eugene, 2010. The Death of Demotic Redux, Pilgrimage, Nubia, and the Preservation of Egyptian Culture. In Nuv, Herman, Leitz, Christian, von Recklinghausen, Daniel, eds. Honi soit qui mal y pense, Studien zum Pharaoniscan, Grecius Romiscan und Spontantiken Ägypten zu Aaron von Heinz Joseph Thyssen. Peters. Pages 499-506. ISBN 978-90-429-2323-2. Delia, Diana, 1998. Isis, or the Moon. In Clarice, Willie, Skoers, Anton, Willems, Harko, eds. Egyptian Religion, The Last 1,000 Years. Studies dedicated to the memory of Jan Queechbuer. Peters. Pages 539-550. ISBN 978-90-429-0669-3. Dijkstra, Jitsa H.F. 2008. Folly and the End of Ancient Egyptian Religion. Peters. ISBN 978-90-429-2031-6. Donaldson, Malcolm Drew, 2003. The Cult of Isis in the Roman Empire, Isis Invicta. The Edwin Mellon Press. ISBN 978-0-7734-6894-8. Dunand, Françoise, Zivikoche, Christian, 2004, French edition 1991. Gods and Men in Egypt, 3000 BCE to 395 CE. Translated by David Lorden. Cornell University Press. ISBN 978-0-8014-8853-5. Dunand, Françoise, 2010. Culte d'Isis ou Religion Isiaque. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, eds. Isis on the Nile, Egyptian Gods in Hellenistic and Roman Egypt. Proceedings of the IVTH International Conference of Isis Studies, Liege, November 27-29, 2008, in French. Brill. Pages 39-54. ISBN 978-90-04-18882-2. Forrest, M. Isadora, 2001. Isis Magic, Cultivating a Relationship with the Goddess of 10,000 Names. Llewellyn Worldwide. ISBN 978-1-56718-286-6. Frankfurt, Henri, 1978, First edition 1948. Kingship and the Gods, A Study of Ancient Near Eastern Religion as the Integration of Society and Nature. University of Chicago Press. ISBN 978-0-226-26011-2. Frankfurter, David, 1998. Religion in Roman Egypt, Assimilation and Resistance. Princeton University Press. ISBN 978-0-8014-3847-9. Frankfurter, David, 2009. The Laments of Horus in Coptic, Myth, Folklore, and Syncretism in Late Antique Egypt. In Dill, Yuli, Walt, Christine John, eds. Antique Mythen, Median, Transformation and Deconstructionen. Walter de Gruyter. Pages 229-247. ISBN 978-3-11-020909-9. Gasparini, Valentino, 2011. Isis and Osiris, Demonology vs. Henotheism. Newman. 58, 5/6/697-728 doi 10.1163/156852711x593304. Jaster 230462225. Gasparini, Valentino, 2016. I will not be thirsty. My lips will not be dry. Individual Strategies of Reconstructing the Afterlife in the Isiac Cults. In Waldner, Katharina, Gordon, Richard, Spickerman, Wolfgang, eds. Burial Rituals, Ideas of Afterlife, and the Individual in the Hellenistic World and the Roman Empire. Franz Steiner Verlag. Pages 125-150. ISBN 978-3-515-11550-6. Griffiths, J. Gwyn, 1960. The Conflict of Horus and Seth. Liverpool University Press. OCLC 4738911027. Griffiths, J. Gwyn, ed. 1970. Plutarch's De Icide et Osiride. University of Wales Press. OCLC 101107. Griffiths, J. Gwyn, ed. 1975. Apuleius, The Isis Book, Metamorphoses, Book 11. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-04270-4. Griffiths, J. Gwyn, 1980. The Origins of Osiris and His Cult. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-06096-8. Griffiths, J. Gwyn, 2001. Isis. In Redford, Donald B. ed. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt. Volume 2. Oxford University Press. Pages 188-191. ISBN 978-0-19-510234-5. Hadot, Pierre, 2006, French edition 2004. The Veil of Isis, an essay on the history of the idea of nature. Translated by Michael Chase. The Belknap Press of Harvard University Press. ISBN 978-0-674-02316-1. Hogg, Bernard D. 2006. Alchemy 2, Antiquity 12th Century. In Hanegraaff, Wouter J., Favre, Antoine, Van den Broek, Roloff, Brach, Jean-Pierre, eds. Dictionary of Gnosis and Western Esotericism. Brill. Pages 1634. ISBN 978-90-04-15231-1. Hansen, J. Arthur, ed. 1989. Metamorphoses, The Golden Ass, Volume 2, Book 711. Harvard University Press. ISBN 978-0-674-99498-0. Hart, George, 2005. The Routledge Dictionary of Egyptian Gods and Goddesses, 2nd edition. Routledge. ISBN 978-0-203-02362-4. Hayes, Harold M. 2010. Funerary Rituals, Pharaonic Period. In Wendrich, Willeke, ed. UCLA Encyclopedia of Egyptology. Department of Near Eastern Languages and Cultures, UC Los Angeles. ISBN 978-0615214030. Retrieved December 10, 2017. Hiob, Sharon Kelly, 1975. The Cult of Isis Among Women in the Greco-Roman World. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-04368-8. Higgins, Sabrina, 2012. Divine Mothers, The Influence of Isis on the Virgin Mary in Egyptian Lactans Iconography. Journal of the Canadian Society for Coptic Studies. 3, 47190. Hollis, Susan Tower, 2009. Hathor and Isis in Byblos in the 2nd and 1st millennia BCE. Journal of Ancient Egyptian Interconnections. 1, 218. Hornung, Eric, 2001, German edition 1999. The Secret Lore of Egypt, Its Impact on the West. Translated by David Lorden. Cornell University Press. ISBN 978-0-80143847-9. Humbert, Jean-Marcel, 2000. Les Nouveaux Mystères d'Isis, ou les Avatars d'un mythe du XVIOXXE siècle. In Bricault, Laurent, ed. De Memphis à Rome, Axe du Ir colloque international sur les études Isiaques, Poitiers Futuroscope, 8-10 Avril 1999, in French. Brill. Pages 163-188. ISBN 978-90-04-11736-5. Hutton, Ronald, 2019. The Triumph of the Moon, A History of Modern Pagan Witchcraft, New Edition. Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-887037-1. Hezon, Olga, September 22, 2014. ISIS has recently become a popular girl's name. The Atlantic. Retrieved December 10, 2017. Kockelman, Holger, 2008. Praising the Goddess, a comparative and annotated re-edition of 6 demotic hymns and praises addressed to Isis. Walter de Gruyter. ISBN 978-3-11-021224-2. Kramer, Ross Shepard, 1992. Her Share of the Blessings, Women's Religions Among Pagans, Jews, and Christians in the Greco-Roman World. Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-506686-9. Coleman, Klaus P. 2011. Throne. In Wendrich, Willeke, ed. UCLA Encyclopedia of Egyptology. Department of Near Eastern Languages and Cultures, UC Los Angeles. ISBN 978-0615214030. Retrieved December 10, 2017. Lehelma, Antti, Fima, Zbigniew T. 2008. From Goddess to Prophet, 2000 Years of Continuity on the Mountain of Aaron near Petra, Jordan. Temenos, Nordic Journal of Comparative Religion. 44, 2191-222. Legres, Bernard, 2014. Serapis, Isis et le pouvoir lagide. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, eds. Power, Politics, and the Cults of Isis. Proceedings of the VTH International Conference of Isis Studies, Boulogne-sur-Mer, October 13-15, 2011, in French. Brill. Pages 95-115. ISBN 978-90-04-27718-2. Lesko, Barbara S. 1999. The Great Goddesses of Egypt. University of Oklahoma Press. ISBN 978-0-80613202-0. Ma, John, 2014. Les Cultes Isiaques en l'Espace Seleucide. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, eds. Power, Politics, and the Cults of Isis. Proceedings of the VTH International Conference of Isis Studies, Boulogne-sur-Mer, October 13-15, 2011, in French. Brill. Pages 116-134. ISBN 978-90-04-27718-2. McPherson, J. 2004. The Travels of Sthos. Lumen, Selected Proceedings from the Canadian Society for 18th Century Studies. 23, 235-254. doi 10.7202/10121997 Matthews, Thomas F., Muller, Norman, 2005. Isis and Mary in Early Icons. In Vasiliki, Maria, ed. Images of the Mother of God, Perceptions of the Theotokos in Byzantium. Ashgate Publishing. Pages 311. ISBN 978-0-75463603-8. McLean, Brett, 2011. Cosmogony, Late to Ptolemaic and Roman Periods. In Wendrich, Willeke, ed. UCLA Encyclopedia of Egyptology. Department of Near Eastern Languages and Cultures, UC Los Angeles. ISBN 978-0615214030. Retrieved December 10, 2017. McGuckin, John, 2008. The Early Cult of Mary and Interreligious Contexts in the 5th Century Church. In Maunder, Chris, ed. The Origins of the Cult of the Virgin Mary. Burns and Oates. Pages 122. ISBN 978-0860-12456-6. Meeks, Dimitri, Favard Meeks, Christine, 1996, French edition 1993. Daily Life of the Egyptian Gods. Translated by G. M. Goshgarian. Cornell University Press. ISBN 978-0-8014-8248-9. Meyer, Marvin, 1994. Greek Texts of Ritual Power from Christian Egypt. In Meyer, Marvin, Smith, Richard, eds. Ancient Christian Magic, Coptic Texts of Ritual Power. Harper, San Francisco. Pages 2757. ISBN 978-0-06-065578-5. Morcote, Robert G. 2012. Kings and Kingship in Ancient Nubia. In Fisher, Marjorie M., Lacavora, Peter, Ikram, Salima, Dioria, Sue, eds. Ancient Nubia, African Kingdoms on the Nile. The American University in Cairo Press. Pages 118-124. ISBN 978-977-416-478-1. Munster, Maria, 1968. Untersuchungen zur Gotten Isis vom Alten Reich bis zum Ende des Neuen Reichs, in German. Verlag Bruno Hessling. OCLC 925981274. Nerbaut, Frederick, 2007. The Temple at Ras El Soda. Is it an Isis temple? Is it Greek, Roman, Egyptian, or neither? And so what? In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, Maybaum, Paul G. P. eds. Nile into Tiber, Egypt in the Roman World. Proceedings of the IIIRD International Conference of Isis Studies, Faculty of Archaeology, Leiden University, May 11-14 2005. Brill. Pages 506-554. ISBN 978-90-04-15420-9. Orlin, Eric M. 2010. Foreign Cults in Rome, Creating a Roman Empire. Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-973155-8. Pachis, Panayotis, 2010. Religion and Politics in the Greco-Roman World, Redscribing the Isis-Serapis Cult. Barbunakis Publications. ISBN 978-960-267-140-5. Pakanen, Petra, 1996. Interpreting Early Hellenistic Religion, a study based on the mystery cult of Demeter and the cult of Isis. Foundation of the Finnish Institute at Athens. ISBN 978-951-95295-4-7. Pfeiffer, Stefan, 2008. The God Serapis, His Cult, and the Beginnings of the Ruler Cult in Ptolemaic Egypt. In McKechnie, Paul, Guillaume, Philippe, eds. Ptolemy II Philadelphus and His World. Brill. Pages 387-408. ISBN 978-90-04-17089-6. Pinch, Geraldine, 2002. Egyptian Mythology, A Guide to the Gods, Goddesses, and Traditions of Ancient Egypt. Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-517024-5. Pinch, Geraldine, 2006. Magic in Ancient Egypt, Revised Edition. University of Texas Press/British Museum Press. ISBN 978-0-292-72262-0. Plantsos, Dimitris, 2011. The Iconography of Assimilation, Isis in Royal Imagery on Ptolemaic Seal Impressions. In Iosif, Panagiotis, Chankowski, André S., Lorber, Catherine C. eds. More Than Men, Less Than Gods, on Royal Cult and Imperial Worship. Proceedings of the International Colloquium organized by the Belgian School at Athens, November 1–2, 2007. Peters. Pages 389–415. ISBN 978-90-429-2470-3. Quack, Joachim Friedrich, 2018. What is a priest of Se, of Musa, and of Isis in the Egyptian and Nubian world? In Gasparini, Valentino, Vermeers, Richard, eds. Individuals and Materials in the Greco-Roman Cults of Isis, Agents, Images, and Practices. Proceedings of the Vieth International Conference of Isis Studies, Erfurt, May 6–8, 2013. Liege, September 23–24, 2013. Brill. Pages 108–126. ISBN 978-90-04-38134-6. Quinton, Florence, 2012. Isis Elle Eternal, Biographie d'un mythe féminin, in French. Albin Michel. ISBN 978-2-226-24022-4. Renberg, Gil H. 2017. Where Dreams May Come, Incubation Sanctuaries in the Greco-Roman World. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-29976-4. Riley, Claude, Devogt, Alex, 2012. The Meroitic Language and Writing System. Cambridge University Press. ISBN 978-1-107-00866-3. Rives, J.B., ed. 1999. Tacitus, Germania. Clarendon Press. ISBN 978-0-19-815050-3. Salzman, Michel René, 1990. On Roman Time, the Codex Calendar of 354 and the Rhythms of Urban Life in Late Antiquity. University of California Press. ISBN 978-0-520-06566-6. Sandri, Sandra, 2012. Terracottas. In Riggs, Christina, ed. The Oxford Handbook of Roman Egypt. Oxford University Press. Pages 636–47. ISBN 978-0-19-957145-1. Sfamini Gasparo, Julia, 2007. The Hellenistic Face of Isis, Cosmic and Savior Goddess. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, Maybaum, Paul G.P. eds. Nile into Tiber, Egypt in the Roman World. Proceedings of the IIIRD International Conference of Isis Studies, Faculty of Archaeology, Leiden University, May 11–14, 2005. Brill. Pages 40–72. ISBN 978-90-04-15420-9. Smith, Mark, 2009. Traversing Eternity, Texts for the Afterlife from Ptolemaic and Roman Egypt. Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-815464-8. Smith, Mark, 2017. Following Osiris, Perspectives on the Osirian Afterlife from 4 Millennia. Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-958222-8. Smith, Mark S. 2010, First edition 2008. God in Translation, Deities in Cross-Cultural Discourse in the Biblical World. Eerdmans. ISBN 978-0-8028-6433-8. Solmsen, Friedrich, 1979. ISIS Among the Greeks and Romans. Harvard University Press. ISBN 978-0-674-46775-0. Spieth, Darius A. 2007. Napoleon's Sorcerers, the Sophisians. University of Delaware Press. ISBN 978-0-87413-957-0. Takux, Saralta A. 1995. Isis and Serapis in the Roman World. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-10121-0. Teeter, Emily, 2001. Cults, Divine Cults. In Redford, Donald B. ed. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt. Volume 1. Oxford University Press. Pages 340-345. ISBN 978-0-19-510234-5. Thompson, Dorothy, 1998. Demeter in Greco-Roman Egypt. In Clarice, Willie, Skoers, Anton, Willems, Harco, eds. Egyptian Religion, The Last 1,000 Years. Studies dedicated to the memory of Jan Queechbuer. Peters. Pages 699-707. ISBN 978-90-429-0669-3. Tiradridi, Francesco, 2005. The Return of Isis in Egypt, Remarks on Some Statues of Isis and on the Diffusion of Her Cult in the Greco-Roman World. In Hoffman, Adolf, ed. Egyptisk Kult und ihr Heiligtümer im Osten des Römischen Reichs. Internationals Colloquium 5/6. September 2003 in Bergamo, Turkey. Edge Yainler. Pages 209-225. ISBN 978-1-55540-549-6. Tobin, Vincent Airy, 2001. Myths, An Overview. In Redford, Donald B. ed. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt. Volume 2. Oxford University Press. Pages 464-469. ISBN 978-0-19-510234-5. Tronecker, Claude, 2001. Camutef. In Redford, Donald B. ed. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt. Volume 2. Oxford University Press. Pages 221-222. ISBN 978-0-19-510234-5. Troy, Lana, 1986. Patterns of Queenship in Ancient Egyptian Myth and History. Acta Universitatis Upsalienses. ISBN 978-91-554-1919-6. Turkin, Robert, 1996, French edition 1992. The Cults of the Roman Empire. Translated by Antonia Neville. Blackwell. ISBN 978-0-631-20046-8. Van den Broek, Roloff, 2006. Hermes Trismegistusai, Antiquity. In Haingroff, Wouter J., Favor, Antoine, Van den Broek, Roloff, Brach, Jean-Pierre, eds. Dictionary of Gnosis and Western Esotericism. Brill. Pages 474-478. ISBN 978-90-04-15231-1. Vanderlip, Vera Frederica, 1972. The Four Greek Hymns of Isidorus and the Cult of Isis. A. M. Hackert. ISBN 978-0-89130-699-3. Van Nuffelen, Peter, 2010. Pagan Monotheism as a Religious Phenomenon. In Mitchell, Stephen, Van Nuffelen, Peter, eds. One God, Pagan Monotheism in the Roman Empire. Cambridge University Press. Pages 1633. ISBN 978-0-521-19416-7. Vennet, Marjorie S. 2010. Referencing Isis in Tombs of Greco-Roman Egypt, Tradition and Innovation. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, eds. Isis on the Nile, Egyptian Gods in Hellenistic and Roman Egypt. Proceedings of the IVTH International Conference of Isis Studies, Liege, November 27-29, 2008. Brill. Pages 89-119. ISBN 978-90-04-18882-2. Verlies, Miguel John, 2004. Isis Capitolina and the Egyptian Cults in Late Republican Rome. In Bricault, Laurent, ed. Isis en Occident, Axe du colloque international sur les études Isiaques, Lyon 3 Mai 2002. Brill. Pages 421-448. ISBN 978-90-04-13263-4. Verlies, Miguel John, 2007. Egypte Romana, The Widening Debate. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, Maybaum, Paul G. P. eds. Nile into Tiber, Egypt in the Roman World. Proceedings of the IIIRD International Conference of Isis Studies, Faculty of Archaeology, Leiden University, May 11-14 2005. Brill. Pages 114. ISBN 978-90-04-15420-9. Versnell, H.S. 2011. Coping with the Gods, Wayward Readings in Greek Theology. Brill. doi 10.1163/EJ.9789004204904.I594. ISBN 978-90-04-20490-4. S2CID 2208300615. Vinson, Steve, 2008. Through a Woman's Eyes, and in a Woman's Voice, Iwaret as Focalizer in the First Tale of Setna Kimwas. In McKechnie, Paul, Guillaume, Philippe, eds. Ptolemy II Philadelphus and His World. Brill. Pages 303-351. ISBN 978-90-04-17089-6. Walters, Elizabeth J. 1988. Attic Grave Reliefs that Represent Women in the Dress of Isis. American School of Classical Studies at Athens. ISBN 978-90-04-06331-0. Wendt, Edward F. 2001. Monotheism. In Redford, Donald B. ed. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt. Volume 2. Oxford University Press. Pages 432-435. ISBN 978-0-19-510234-5. Wild, Robert A. 1981. Water in the Cultic Worship of Isis and Serapis. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-06331-0. Wilkinson, Richard H. 2003. The Complete Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt. Thames and Hudson. ISBN 978-0-500-05120-7. Witt, R.E. 1997, First edition 1971. ISIS in the Ancient World. Johns Hopkins University Press. ISBN 978-0-8018-5642-6. Wolf, Greg, 2014. ISIS and the Evolution of Religions. In Bricault, Laurent, Verlies, Miguel John, eds. Power, Politics, and the Cults of ISIS. Proceedings of the VTH International Conference of ISIS Studies, Boulogne-sur-Mer, October 13-15, 2011. Brill. Pages 62-92. ISBN 978-90-04-27718-2. Yellen, Janice W. 2012a. Wadban Naka. In Fisher, Marjorie M., Lacavora, Peter, Ikram, Salima, Dioria, Sue, eds. Ancient Nubia, African Kingdoms on the Nile. The American University in Cairo Press. Pages 244-246. ISBN 978-977-416-478-1. Yellen, Janice W. 2012b. Nubian Religion. In Fisher, Marjorie M., Lacavora, Peter, Ikram, Dioria, Sue, eds. Ancient Nubia, African Kingdoms on the Nile. The American University in Cairo Press. Pages 125-144. ISBN 978-977-416-478-1. Abker, Louis V. 1988. Hymns to Isis in Her Temple at Philly. Brandeis University Press. ISBN 978-0-87451-395-0. Ziolkowski, Theodore, Summer 2008. The Veil as Metaphor and Myth. Religion and Literature. 40, 261-81. Further reading. Berger, Catherine, Clerk, Giselle, Grimmel, Nicholas, eds. 1994. Homages à Jean Leclant, Volume 3, Études Isiaques, in French, English, German, and Italian. Institut Français d'Archéologie Orientale. ISBN 978-2-7247-0138-8. Bricault, Laurent, 2019. Isis Pelagia, Images, Names, and Cults of a Goddess of the Seas. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-41389-4. Bricault, Laurent, 2013. Les Cultes Isiaques dans le monde gréco-romain, in French. Les Belles Lettres. ISBN 978-2-251-33969-6. Bricault, Laurent, Vermeers, Richard, eds. 2008-2020. Bibliotheca Isiaca. Ausonius Editions. Vol. I. ISBN 978-2-91002-3-99-7, Vol. 2, ISBN 978-2-356-13053-2, Vol. 3, ISBN 978-2-356-13121-8, Vol. 4, ISBN 978-2-356-13341-0. Dunand, Françoise, 1973. Le culte d'Isis dans le bassin oriental de la Méditerranée, in French. Brill. Vol. I. ISBN 978-90-04-03581-2, Vol. 2, ISBN 978-90-04-03582-9, Vol. 3, ISBN 978-90-04-03583-6. Leclant, Jean, Clerc, Giselle, 1972-1991. Inventaire bibliographique des Isiaques. Répertoire bibliographique des travaux relatifs à la diffusion des cultes Isiaques 1940-1969, in French. Brill. AD, ISBN 978-90-04-294881-3, EK, ISBN 978-90-04-03981-0, LQ, ISBN 978-90-04-07061-5, RZ, ISBN 978-90-04-09247-1. Nagel, Svengia, 2019. Isis im Römischen Reich, in German. Harasowitz. ISBN 978-3-447-10801-0. Tran Tam Tin, v. 1973. Isis Lactans, Corpus des Monuments Greco-Romains d'Isis à l'Iton Harpocrate, in French. Brill. ISBN 978-90-04-03746-5. Vidman, Ladislav, 1970. Isis und Serapis bei den Griechen und Römern, in German. Walter de Gruyter. ISBN 978-3-11-176823-6. External links. Wikimedia Commons has media related to Isis. Isis in the Name of Ra, as translated by A. G. McDowell. Plutarch, Isis and Osiris, as translated by Frank Cole Babbitt. Lucius Apuleius, The Golden Ass, Book 11, as translated by A. S. Klein. Show. V. T. E. Ancient Egyptian Religion. Beliefs. Afterlife. Creation Myths. Isfit. Mot. Makru. Mythology. Numerology. Osiris myth. Philosophy. Soul. Practices. Canopic jars. Embalming ritual. Funerals. Mortuary temples. Offering formula. Opening of the mouth. Pyramids. Temples. Veneration of the dead. Deities. Ogdoad. Amun. Amunit. Howhet. Het. Coquette. Kek. Naunet. Nu. Eniad. Adam. Geb. Isis. Nephthys. Nut. Osiris. Set. Shu. Tefnut. Triads. Theban triad. Aati. Acre. Okti. Amenhotep. Son of Hapu. Amsmi. Amit. Amhat. Amuaa. Anat. Anjeti. Anhur. Anput. Anubis. Anuket. Apdemoc. Apeb. Apis. Apt. Aken. Arensnuppies. Ash. Assessors. Astart. Aten. B. Bobby. Bainjadet. Bastet. Vat. Bata. Bapef. Bennu. Ves. Butchies. C. Cavern deities. D. Didun. Dionysus Osiris. F. Four sons of Horus. G. Gate deities. H. Ha. Happy. Hathor. Hatamhit. Oran. Hittite. Hetihotep. Hika. Heman. Hemsit. Henit. Heket. Hermanubis. Harishaf. Hesat. Horus. Harpocrates. Hu. Iabet. Ia. Iat. Igai. Ihi. Ikemusk. Imentet. Imhodub. Ipi. Iunit. Ihusaaset. K. Kibichet. Kenzit. Kenti amantiu. Kenti kiti. Kepri. Kurdi. Knum. Kansu. Kother wa cases. M. Mahis. Maat. Mafdet. Mandulis. Medjt. Mehen. Mehetwarit. Mehit. Menhit. Merit. Meritsager. Meskanet. Min. Naviz. Montu. Mut. N. Nebthetepit. Nechawai. Nefertum. Neekau. Name Tai. Neath. Nekbit. Nemti. Neeper. P. Pk. Parrot. Petby. Te. Q. Kabi. Qed her. Kh. R. Ra. Reed Tai. Regeet. Ram. Renanutet. Renpit. Renpit Nefrit. Ripit. Rashepf. S. Sa. Satis. Sebiameker. Seker. Sekamet. Serapis. Circuit. Shed. Shy. Shed. Shesmitet. Shesmu. Sia. Sobug. Sopday. Sopdu. Souls of Pe and Nekan. T. Taitanen. Taurat. Tate. Tabitje. Thoth. Hermes Trismegistus. Tijaneniat. Tudu. U. Anut. W. Wajet. Wajwer. Weneg. Webset. Webvaet. Warathico. Worit. Creatures. Aeni. Abtu. Griffin. Hierarchosphinx. Medjt. Serpapard. Shat. Sphinx. Urias. Characters. Dedi. Jajamank. Redajet. Ubaner. Locations. Eru. Ake. Benben. Duet. Land of Manu. The Indestructibles. Symbols. And objects. Ankh. Ataf. Cartouche. Corn mummy. Crook and flail. Crown of justification. Dishrat. Djed. Egyptian obelisk. Egyptian pool. Eye of Horus. Eye of Ra. Hejet. Hemum crown. Henu. Horus on the crocodiles. Hypocephalus. Imiat fetish. Capriche. Neph. Manat. Nebu. Nemes. Neshmit. Ouroboros. Chint. Scarab. Sarag. Shenring. Solar bark. Tyet. Shabdi. Vulture crown. Was scepter. Winged sun. Writings. Amduate. Books of breathing. Book of caverns. Book of the dead. Book of the earth. Book of gates. Book of the heavenly cow. Book of traversing eternity. Coffin texts. The contendings of Horus and Seth. Enigmatic book of the netherworld. Great hymn to the Aten. Litany of the Eye of Horus. Litany of Re. Pyramid texts. Spell of the 12 caves. Festivals. Beautiful festival of the valley. Cattle count. Coronation of the Pharaoh. Min festival. Opet festival. Sed festival. Related religions. Atenism. Gnosticism. Hermeticism. Kemetism. Mysteries of Isis. Temple of Set. Thelema. Ancient Egypt Portal. Show. V. T. E. Kushite religion. Beliefs. Afterlife. Christianity. Creation myths. Egyptian religion. Eye of Ra. Flooding of the Nile. Mot. Mythology. Philosophy. Prophecy of Neferti. Soul. Practices. Burials. Execration texts. Funerals. Mortuary temple. Pilgrimage. Pyramids. Temples. Veneration of the dead. Deities. Triads. Elephantine. Naka. A. Amun. Amant. Amsmi. Anaka. Abdimak. Akidis. Iron Snuppies. Eriton. B. Bess. Breathe. D. Didun. H. Hika. Heman. K. M. Make Deek. Mash. Mahit. Menhit. Marul. Mikat. N. R. S. Sabamakal. T. W. Wuza. Cultures. A group. Alodia. B group. Blemmise. C group. Kerma. Kingdom of Al-Abwab. Makuria. Medja. Mero. Nepeta. Nobatia. X group. Locations. Annaba. Balana. Bijet. Deir el-Bahari. Dodecascoinos. Dodawo. Elephantine. Jebel Barkal. Kawa. Lisht. Musawarat es Safra. Fully Temple Complex. Kasribram. Kustul. Semna. Temple of Amun. Temple of Dender. Temple of Mut. Throne Hall of Dongola. Tombos. Sacred Animals. Abtu. Barbary Lion. Cattle. Falcon. Hierarchosphinx. Medjed. Nile Crocodile. North African Elephant. Ram. Serpapard. Sphinx. Taurat. Urias. Symbols and objects. Ankh. Ataf. Cartouche. Christian cross. Crook and flail. Crown of justification. Dishrat. Djed. Egyptian obelisk. Egyptian pool. Eye of Horus. Eye of Ra. Gold. Hafur. Hejet. Hemam crown. Henu. Horus on the crocodiles. Hypocephalus. Imiat fetish. Capriche. Nef. Manat. Nebu. Neems. Chint. Scarab. Sarag. Shenring. Solar bark. Tyet. Ashabdi. Vulture crown. Was scepter. Languages. Blemmise language. Egyptian language. Meroitic language, Meroitic alphabet. Nubian language. Category. Show. Authority control databases. International. VIAF. 2. Fast. WorldCat. National. Germany. United States. Australia. Czech Republic. Sweden. Poland. Israel. Catalonia. People. DDB. Other. IDREF. Retrieved from https://n.wikipedia.org/w/index.php. Title equals ISIS and OLDIT equals 1255241264. Categories. Agricultural goddesses. Avian humanoids. Cattle deities. Childhood goddesses. Creator goddesses. Egyptian goddesses. Fertility goddesses. Health goddesses. Hellenistic Egyptian deities. Isis. Life-death rebirth goddesses. Magic goddesses. Mother goddesses. Nubian goddesses. Queens of heaven, antiquity. Roman goddesses. Sky and weather goddesses. Wisdom goddesses. Hidden categories. Pages using the Wikihiro extension. Articles containing ancient Egyptian language text. Articles containing Coptic language text. Articles containing classical Greek language text. Articles with short description. Short description is different from Wikidata. Featured articles. Wikipedia indefinitely semi-protected pages. Articles having same image on Wikidata and Wikipedia. Articles containing ancient Greek, to 1453, language text. CS1 French language sources, FR. CS1 German language sources, DE. CS1 Italian language sources, IT. Commons category link is on Wikidata. This page was last edited on November 3, 2024, at 22:06 UTC. Text is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0 license. Additional terms may apply. By using this site, you agree to the terms of use and privacy policy. Wikipedia registered trademark is a registered trademark of the Wikimedia Foundation, Inc., a non-profit organization. Privacy policy. About Wikipedia. Disclaimers. Contact Wikipedia. Code of conduct. Developers. Statistics. Cookie statement. Mobile view. Edit preview settings.